All right, good morning. Thank you for being here today. I am so grateful that you have taken time out of your Saturday morning to be with us. And if we have not met, I am Tiffany Damskov, the Public Image Chair for our district. And I've been in that role for a couple of years now, and Jeff asked, well, 1 year, and Jeff asked me to return next year. So I'm glad I get to continue in my role, but I've been my social media chair for our club for the past 3 years, and I also have an extensive marketing background. I will not claim to know all, but I enjoy what I do, and I like sharing my knowledge with others. And we have a lot to cover today, so we're going to go ahead and dive into this, but do know that we are recording for future training and purposes, and just be aware of that as we go throughout the day. All right, our agenda today, I'm going to go over a few housekeeping things, and we're going to have a fun icebreaker. We're going to talk about branding and the brand center, and hopefully share with you some things that you didn't know about that. And then I'll pass the baton over to Angela, and she's going to talk about the relationship between membership and public image. But we'll have a break right before her session, so don't worry about that. And then we will have a break after her session, and then we'll get into social media creation using Canva and some other tools. And we'll talk about scheduling and making things a little bit easier on you, because we all have lives outside of Rotary. Well, a little bit of a life outside of Rotary. We'll talk about AI and social media and how it can help you. And we'll talk about media relations, and last but not least, photos and copyright infringement. And then we'll have some questions and answers at the end. All right, a little bit of Zoom etiquette. Please remain muted during the presentation. And if you have a question, you can raise your hand or type a question in the chat box. Landon, once he gets to the house, is going to monitor that chat box, and we're going to gather those questions and answer them at the end of each session. Please limit your movement on your camera. It can be distracting to people that are looking at all of those views. So be aware of your surroundings and your background and your movement on camera. If you have to step away, you can take your camera mode off so we don't see that. And if you have any questions about those things, please let me know. All right, so we're going to start with a little icebreaker. So if you will grab your phones and go to slido.com, SLIDO.com, and then type in the participant code there. Join as a participant with 1668790. I'm going to bring up a different screen. All right. And the first poll is to use one emoji to describe your current mood. All right. You can see what everybody's reactions are so far. We've got tired and thankful and happy and sleepy. Can you see all of those results? That's fun. All right. The next poll is ranking from 1 to 5 rate your confidence in social media. 5 being extremely confident. And you can see on your app that there are several options there. And this is anonymous, so don't worry about that. Oh, we did have some presidents that made people attend. That must be the Quitman group. Well, good. I'm glad y'all are here to learn some tips and tricks. That is always helpful. All right, last question. What is the most pressing thing that you would like to have answered today? Just type in your question. All right. Good. Branding questions, membership questions. How do I know what logo to use? That's great because we're going to talk all about logos in a little bit. Which social media solutions? All right, great questions. Good deal. All right. Did we let everybody in?
I think so.
Good. Thank you, Landon. Welcome to the party.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. I love this quote by Paul Harris. Whatever Rotary may mean to the world, it will be known by the results it achieves. And that's what we're here today to learn, is to make a bigger impact on the world and share with people more about Rotary. So let's go ahead and take a deep dive into our presentation. Forbes magazine says successful brands are based on authenticity, drawn from real achievements, real strengths, and real emotions that are alive and well at all levels in the organization. And we want to draw on our strengths, but we also want to share the emotion and our passion for Rotary. And that's what our job is as social media and public image chairs. All right. A consistent brand absolutely matters. And a consistent brand helps make you memorable. And repetition is the reason why flashcards, lists, and mnemonic devices are so effective. And the more often people see, hear, and experience something, the better. And that is our role as public image chairs, is to be consistent with our brand and to consistently be in front of people. And in fact, you've heard the rule of 7, and that holds true with public image as well. We want to share things multiple times. So don't worry about sharing too much about Rotary, because we can never share too much about Rotary. And that, I believe, is a fact, not just opinion. If you want your brand to be memorable, you also want to share it across several different channels. And that means sharing in print and in social media over several different platforms, wherever your audience is. And also, brand consistency contributes to brand recognition. And we all know this because we've seen commercials and billboards and seen things online. And you can see a commercial or see a brand image and know, without even the brand name being mentioned, who it is. I mean, you hear the Capital One commercials and you see the actors that do those commercials, and you know before they even say what's in your wallet that it's a Capital One commercial. Or the Tootsie Pop commercials, you can see the little owl and know what that brand is. So you can see consistency matters. 71% of consumers say they're more likely to buy a product or service from a brand they recognize. And we want people to recognize Rotary and our image and our brand. We are the oldest service organization, but yet we are neck and neck with the Lions Club as far as worldwide members. We need to widen that gap and make sure that we have the most members across the world. And that's part of our job, is to grow membership. And Angela will get into that a little bit later, but everything that we do has an impact on membership because people are watching us. And I don't know if anyone has ever been attracted to your club because of something they saw on social media, but we've had people visit our club because of something they saw, an announcement about a speaker or something that we have done, and that has attracted them to our brand, to our club. And that's what we want to consistently do. Brand and marketing consistency helps to build awareness, and it allows our consumers, our potential club members, to easily recognize our brand. Businesses with brand consistency are 3.5 more times more visible to customers, and that can help us stand out. And it's starting to get really crowded out there. There's lots of things that people can do and lots of things that they can be involved in, but we want to be on the forefront and consistently put our brand out there. Brand consistency also creates trust. If you have somebody that regularly breaks plans, misses phone calls, and doesn't return your text, you probably wouldn't have a lot of faith in that person. So being trustworthy is a major element of a successful brand. 81% of consumers said that they need to be able to trust the brand in order to buy from them. And consistency helps build that trust. So if they're constantly seeing what we're doing and seeing a consistent brand across all platforms, that helps contribute to being a trustworthy brand. All right, I have to thank my friend Evan Burrell, an Aussie Rotary Facebook friend, for letting me use this image. Some people refer to me as the Rotary brand police in our district, and I'm okay with that. It has been a challenge, but we are getting there. We are being more consistent in our district, and I appreciate all the hard work you all have done and striving to have the right brand out there. And we're going to go into branding quite a bit today, but I want everyone to be able to monitor that across our district because it takes all of us. I'm one person and I can't get to everybody in our district, but you all can help us be consistent with our brand. All right, so let's talk about logos. Somebody wanted to know about logos, and there are so many Rotary logos floating around out there. And these are only a few of them. For many years, the wheel stood alone as our logo. And although the words Rotary International are embedded into the wheel, they're hard to read. So for that reason, in 2013, that's 11 years ago, Rotary expanded the official logo to include the word Rotary next to the wheel. The Rotary wheel is still our mark of excellence, but in addition to that, being part of the official logo, it may be enlarged for greater impact and used separately, but near the logo. So we never want to use the mark of excellence by itself without the word Rotary and our Rotary Club image close by. And you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, that was the original logo, and it was the wagon wheel. But we do not want to use that. And some of these others we don't want to use either. But I put them all up there so you can see all the multiple logos that are floating around. And only a couple of these are correct, but we will get into that a little bit more now. And this is straight from Rotary International. And there are lots of questions about logos and how to use them and where to design them and which ones are right and which ones are wrong. That's because there's so many out there that are still using our logo improperly. And I wanted to share a few of these and go into them in a little bit more depth so you understand why they are incorrect. The first one on the top left-hand corner is incorrect because it is being used alone and there is no information about the Rotary Club on the right. And you always want to use your club name with the Rotary wheel. And that one that is crossed out is reserved for Rotary International. So we want to make sure we're not using that and leave that for Rotary International to use. And always use the correct template. And we will go into how to use that template a little bit later. The one on the right is incorrect. And I've seen this in our district, even people create a logo on their own without using the template. And this is what has been done in this instance. And the one on the left that isn't crossed out is one that was used using the template provided by Brand Center. The one on the bottom left, we have had many clubs that have created their own logos over the years, and they're very creative and they're fun, but it doesn't contribute to brand consistency. And this one looks like they must be in the mountains somewhere and they've got their established date. And although it's fun, it is not consistent with our brand and our guidelines. So we want to make sure we're not creating logos on our own and stepping outside of the brand. And the one on the
Tiffany,
yes.
Quick question on that.
Yeah.
So are you going to go to Russell's and tell them to change all their shirt logos? I've got shirts that have got just like the one on the far right with the red line through it, where it's got the rodeo and underneath the logo, it's got club equipment or whatever.
Those are old shirts.
I just ordered them.
And they sent you one with the blue and gold?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the location of where the rotary of somewhere is. It's not off to the left of the emblem it's underneath.
Top right is the one he's talking about.
So it looks like that. So
the shirt looks like that.
Didn't have the right template.
Yeah, and I've gotten these shirts within the last 3 months.
Oh dear. That is something we need to address with Russell. And did you provide them with the image?
No, they give you options of what you can or can't do. And the option really comes down to the information that they'll stitch in it, not on the physical location of the stuff.
Hey, Tiffany, I think Shirley's got something. Tiffany, when we tried to really major focus on using the right template, I approached Russell Hampton about that same question that Bill had, and the answer I got back was they have a supply, in stock. And until Rotary International says pull the supplies that have the wrong logo, they're going to continue selling those.
Lovely.
Even on their website, they still have those just with the wheel, not even with the rotary underneath. So maybe that's something that our district and maybe the zone, they need to approach Russell Hampton's leadership about that.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. That's kind of crazy.
There's
It's
one of
been
my shirts.
13 years.
One of my shirts right there. And
Gosh.
they were all done that way.
Yeah, just from a zone perspective, I will tell you, we are aware of some of the concerns. Many members have brought up the same thing too, right? If you want us to use the right logo. So I think some of that has been fed up the chain. And so from my perspective, Tiffany, I think there's some things that we can control and some that we can't, right? So yes, we'd like to work on that, but for clubs themselves, like if you're creating a digital logo, you're on your website, all of those things, the things that you can control, absolutely make sure it's the logo that like Tiffany is showing you here.
And we have talked about that in the past too. The things that we're trying to focus on right now are things that are in print, things that like Angela said, your digital images, things that you have absolute control over. And I even spoke at our training in Mineola a couple of weeks ago that I know those banners are expensive, but we aren't focusing on things that aren't facing the public. And most of the time those banners are within our clubs and the public isn't seeing them. So those are last on the list. But if you're printing a flyer or if you're printing brochures, new cards, those things that you do have absolute control over, make sure that you're using the right logos. And this is one that I see a lot. The wheel being used by itself, the mark of excellence being used by itself. We want to make sure if we use the large mark of excellence, like in the left-hand image, that we use it in the vicinity of our club's logo, like this is shown here. We don't want to use it standing alone. Yes, there are more. These are some more images that I found while working on this presentation, and I found them out there in Google searches, and they came up pretty close to the top. So people are still using these images, and that's something else. Don't go to a Google search to find an image. We want to always use Brand Center to collect our images and use the proper ones. But these are all incorrect. And can anybody tell me, you can unmute, why the one on the bottom right is incorrect?
Because it's not scaled properly.
Right. Somebody stretched it. And I found that one in a Google search. I copy and pasted it from an image gallery online. So can very easily be found, but we want to use the proper ones that we download from Brand Center. And you have to be really careful with stretching images like this, especially when you are designing print material. It can happen very easily, but there's a way you can prevent that. There's an easy way to enlarge them, and I can go into that a little bit later and share with you how that is done. But these are all old logos with the exception of the one on the far right corner. And we want to make sure we're not using them. And I see them all the time, all throughout Rotary. But we are doing so much better in our district, and I appreciate that. Okay, so here it is in a nutshell. The early 1900s to 2013 was the older wheel with the blue and gold. And now since 2013, we have the new logo with Rotary, the word Rotary standing out. All right, we have a wonderful resource that educates, inspires, and keeps us compliant with all the elements related to the Rotary brand. Logos, graphics, our voice and messaging, also images, videos, and did you know that we have specific fonts and colors that we are supposed to use? Yep, you've got it. And not everybody knows that there are an array of colors that we're allowed to use, and there are several fonts that they have requested that we use. And I tried my very best to use the right fonts throughout my presentation, and I will do a deep dive into those fonts and brand center now. So I'm going to change over to brand center so we can see. Give me just a second. There we go. Be- I had all these screens ready. Sorry. Y'all are so quiet. Wake up. All right. I hope you have all been to Brand Center, but there is a lot available here. And our brand has many elements. And our brand elements are composed of the things that I mentioned earlier, our logos, the graphics that we use, our voice, and our messaging. And I'm going to go a little bit more into how to use our voice on social media. But the images and videos and colors that we are supposed to use within the style guide of Rotary International. And I mentioned typography, and this is what I'm going to start with, because if you've ever worked in marketing or worked with a company, most companies on larger scales have a style guide that they want you to utilize when doing anything in print or in social media even. And these are some of the logos that Rotary International has asked us to utilize. And some of these are paid. You have to pay for them, or they're licensed logos, but some of them are available to you with any platform that you're using. And I focused on this Arial Narrow for my presentation, and that's the main font that I have used for my PowerPoint. And you've all seen Arial in Word and in other platforms. And these are things that you want to be aware of when you're printing brochures or having anything else printed like flyers, to use these brands because they go better with our main Rotary images, and it contributes to the consistency of our brand. We also have a very nice palette of colors that are available to us. And we've all seen the Rotary Gold and Royal Blue and Azure and the Sky Blue within some of our other logos, and even the cranberry has been used. And last year we used the violet a lot with our Rotary International president, but there are lots of other colors that can be used. And these colors all have their own numbers, and a lot of times when you have something printed with a print shop, they might ask you for a PMS code, and this is that code right there. And we can provide those when we're having things printed so that those images are the correct brand colors. And if you were to use a print shop and you're having a flyer printed and you wanted the title to be in one of these colors, and maybe you're printing a big sign that's going to be out among the public, you will want to provide these codes to your print shop so they will print the colors in the proper hues. And they will ask you, if you have a reputable print shop, they will ask you for your PMS codes or your hex codes. And this is where you find them in Brand Center. And you can even, yes, Karen, I see your hand raised. Ask away. Unmute first, though.
Can print shops get into Brand Center, or is that something only members can do?
You can print a style guide for your print shop and provide these numbers to them. I don't know if you can get in to see Brand
Yeah.
Center if you're not a member.
Tiffany, they
Angela's
just changed it, so and you do not have to have a login
Okay.
to get into Brand Center.
All
So to that is that exactly why, so that we can get companies and organizations to correctly do this. So anyone can get in there, no login required.
Perfect.
Good to know, thanks.
But you can go ahead and provide this information to them so they don't have to search, because if they're not familiar with My Rotary or Brand Center, it might be difficult for them to find these proper codes. So you can always provide them to your print shop, and always ask to see those images before they print them, so you can proof and make sure that they haven't stretched our logo and make sure that they're using the proper colors and fonts. But a lot of people know that we have colors that we are to stick with, so we have a consistent brand. And there's so many to use, and all of these colors can be used as shirt colors, and you see those out there. But it's best to provide these codes to your print shop so you have on-brand colors. All right.
Hey, Sam's got a question.
Yes, Sam.
I don't see black on there. But I've seen black printed logos many times.
Well, the black in the color of the print, like the stitching. There it is, right there.
Okay, it's way down at the bottom.
You're
All right.
good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking.
Hey, Tiffany, are you going to talk about plugging these into Canva as well later?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to
Awesome.
talk about that later this afternoon. That is actually a cool feature that we can use these in our images that we create in Canva. It's kind of a hidden feature of Canva that we can plug in these codes and utilize the proper colors. All right, let's go on to images and videos. A lot of times people say, well, where do I get photos and things to post? And I love all of the things that Rotary International provides to us. And there are so many images that they allow us to use. And these are images that they have given us permission to use and download. Anytime that you have a place on Rotary International site in Brand Center where they have download images, these are ones that we have permission to use. And they have lots of videos and images that we can use within Brand Center. And I have used several of the videos that they have, and it gets a lot of attention, and they're very well crafted. And if you don't have your own images or you're just trying to get started, this is a great place to find images. And I'll talk about this later this afternoon, taking your own images is really the best, because people love to see people that they know, and they also like to see themselves in images, and they get a lot more traction on social media if people are recognizable. voice and messaging, I'm going to go into just a little bit more in a moment, but there's a lot of great messaging within Rotary International, and we can use this messaging in our messages to our potential members and to people in the community. And there are lots of good narratives here that can be used within our messaging to have a consistent brand. So I highly, highly recommend taking a deep dive into Brand Center and seeing what all it has to offer. And this is also the place where you can create your own logos. And this is where you want to do it and not anywhere else, because this will give you the exact logo placement and colors that you want to use. And here are many examples like I was giving earlier today. And there's your Rotaract pink that we see so often. And we want to also share this with our Interact and Rotaract clubs, so they are also using the proper brands. We've talked about the do's and don'ts and the master brand. And also our areas of focus are within this area too, and the logos that go with them. This can take hours of your time, but it's a great way to learn more about the logo and how to promote Rotary. And I talked about this a little bit a couple of weeks ago, and there are many ways that you can promote Rotary, and Brand Center goes into each of these areas in more depth. And if you ever need help with our websites, Shirley is a pro. I will never admit to knowing all the things that are involved with that, but Rotary International has lots of information as far as that goes as well. So I want to talk a little bit more about Rotary Voice. And I want to encourage you all to visit Brand Center and learn more about that. Okay. So using your voice on social media, using the Rotary voice on social media can be challenging, but this is another attribute of having a consistent brand. And stories are a great way to show that what your club members and participants are doing, and that they are people of action and making a difference in the community. And stories are how we communicate our passion and our impact in our communities. And also you want to make sure you have clear, compelling facts and data, and that you're sharing that with your community and with your audience. And I like to use the example of our smaller clubs. When we are sharing our service projects, we have a significant impact, even if we are small. And I like to call some of our smaller clubs, they're small but mighty and have a lot of impact. We did our district service project a few weeks ago, and we had a couple of clubs that said, I only had 4 people participate. And I said, but how many service hours did you contribute? Those 4 people each spent 5 hours of their Saturday cleaning up their community. That's 20 hours of service that they contributed to their community. That's impactful. And that is what we need to be sharing. Not that we only had 4 people, but we contributed 20 hours on a Saturday to our community. So make sure you're sharing those facts and that data to really make an impact on what significant things that we're doing in our community. Also, sharing stories about moments when your fellow members have been recognized, or they have recognized the power of Rotary. And this can come through testimonials from members and how they have changed because of Rotary. And I think this is something that we can all do this upcoming year, is to feature a Rotarian and have them share what Rotary has done for them. I know that I've only been a Rotarian for less than 5 years, but it has truly impacted my life. I have met hundreds of people throughout our district and beyond that will be lifelong friends. And I have been able to grow my reach for my nonprofit because I have spoken to dozens of Rotary clubs that I would have never been able to speak to and share that. And I've grown as a speaker and a communicator because of Rotary. And those are the things that people outside of Rotary may not know, but everybody in your club and in our district has something that has impacted them, and the reason why they're in Rotary, or the reason why they stay in Rotary. And we need to gather those stories and share them outside of our clubs. We need to share those to the community, because somebody's going to say, hey, maybe that's for me. And that's part of our role as public image chairs and Rotarians, is to share that story with anybody that we can share it with. And I know I beat this dead horse, but I wear my pen everywhere, every day. Now, I didn't wear it in Mexico last week, but I wear my favorite pen everywhere. And it gets people to ask, what is that? And it gives me an opportunity to share my testimonial with people about Rotary. And we need to communicate those stories through social media and in print, and make sure everybody knows what Rotary is doing in our community. And also gathering testimonials from community members. Maybe when we're out distributing those food boxes in equipment, we can stop and talk to somebody and ask them if they mind if we share their story. What would their life be like each week if we weren't providing food to them through the East Texas food distribution? Those people are impacted by Rotary because we are there, we're passing out food. Those are the stories we need to collect and share, with permission, of course. But those people that we're reaching and serving can also provide stories for us. Also, we want to share the programs and the projects and all of those partnerships that we are involved in, because that reinforces our credibility and our trust in the community. Those partnerships with the food bank and those partnerships with Meals on Wheels, those things that we're doing and growing in the community, people don't always know about those things. And it's our job as public image chairs and Rotarians to share that information with others. And remember that Brand Center has so many examples of stories and videos and images that can be used as ideas. But I encourage you to step out and go into your own communities and your own service projects and gather your stories, because those are the ones you can tell more effectively because they're yours, and you have those right at your fingertips. And all you have to do is gather that information and share it on social media. All right, any questions for this first session?
Hey, Tiffany, can I just throw something in real quick? And you may have mentioned it and I missed it, but can you go back to the Brand Center for just a second? You don't have to physically go there, but
Okay.
creating a logo through the Brand Center using the template. Whenever you've got the Rotary and everybody puts their club name there, can you talk just a second when it's necessary to identify, your district or anything else in there, or should it just be your club name? I see different clubs doing different things there. What do we as a district recommend?
I personally recommend, and maybe Angela can talk to this too on a zone level, that they just put their club name, because it gets very congested and people outside of our district don't know what District 5830 is. They don't know what that means. And we need to really keep it as simple as possible and keep Sunrise, Texarkana, however y'all list your name, but like
Texarkana Sunrise.
we do South Tyler Rotary, and it's consistent, especially in Tyler where we have 3 other clubs, but it really gets busy if you add District 5830 South Tyler Rotary, and that is not what they're suggesting in the template either. You want to put your club name or your district name or your zone name in that slot. And we've got some really long club names, and when you add District 5830 to it, it just becomes very cluttered, and it makes it challenging to put it on images as well.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
Carolyn?
Tiffany, I would 100% agree. Yeah, the district name should be reserved for the district logo. So that you should not put that in there. I think the only variation, like from a club perspective, I've seen some people put like, because your official club name is like Rotary Club of. I don't think it's necessary to put club of. You can just specifically put, so mine is Ponca City Trailblazers, which is a long name, right? So it'd be super long if we did that. But I would say no to district name and a club logo.
I agree. Carolyn, did you have a question? Please.
Yes. Should we be putting, for instance, Rotary Club of Pittsburgh, Texas, TX, or, I know we all around here would know for instance, that we were Pittsburgh, Texas, but I just didn't know if people are putting their state or if that's necessary or not.
I have seen it in both ways, and I know with Canton, there is another Canton, and there's another, there's several in our district that there are other clubs, Rotary clubs that have the same name. And I appreciate it as the district public image person, because I was following a club that I think it was Canton, or may have been Equipment, or somebody from another state, and they had the wrong logo, and I was I was a little upset, and I was sending messages because they wouldn't update it, but they weren't even in our district. But I think they finally did update it, but they weren't in our district. They didn't have Texas anywhere or where their state was. So I don't know. I think that's just personal preference and if you've got the room for it. But I know some of our clubs do use that Texas in their logo, but it's not necessary.
One more quick follow-up. If you've got to think about, like in Tyler, if there's 3 clubs and you guys are getting together to do a joint event, and it's not really, you don't really want to use the logo for one club because it's a joint event, would you put district on there at all? Or, because I've seen that done at some events.
No, we created a logo for our parade, and we did the Rotary Clubs of Tyler.
That's what we did.
And I know y'all have the flag project, so you do the Rotary Clubs of Texarkana, right?
Yes.
So I think that's the best way to tackle that. Now, if we're doing something as a Rotary district, we're going to use the Rotary district logo. But I would still not include it because people, they really, outside of Rotary, they don't care about that district logo. But we want to make sure we're using the correct club logos. All right, well, I want to be able to give you just a quick break, and if you will be back here on screen at 9 o'clock. So take a break, grab a snack, answer those text messages for those people that are finally out, take the dog out, whatever you need to do, and come back and we'll have a session with Angela, and I will introduce her once we return.
Tiffany, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Do you
I
need
can-
to, do you need to share your screen?
Yes, I can do that right now.
All right, while she's doing that, I want to give her the proper introduction. I was really pleased that Angela agreed to join us today. Angela Rickman is the Rotary Zone 31 Assistant Public Image Coordinator. She joined Rotary in 2011 and has since served in various leadership roles, including District Governor of 5750 during 2020 to 2021. And district membership chair for many, many years. Additionally, she is the vice chair of the Mid-America Pets Steering Committee. She is driven by a passion for expanding Rotary's reach. Angela co-chaired the Ponca City Trailblazers, the first new club in that area in over 40 years. Well, wow, Ponca City is blessed. And she currently serves as their club's secretary. District 5830 welcomes you, Angela.
Well, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here today and really appreciate the invite. Know we've been kind of sharing a lot of great information over the last year, and happy to see you guys are actually, taking the time to prepare for your Rotary year, and what's to come next. And I know everybody has a lot going on, so taking your morning to do that really means a lot. So we're going to talk about social media and membership and that tie together. And I'll probably hit on a few things that Tiffany talked about as well, because you've got to really continue to drive that in. And these things are all really interconnected, because the things that she shared with us already are the foundation and very, very important. So what I thought we would do, though, we're going to start off with just a little game here, and we're just going to make this really easy so you guys can come off mute, or you can type in the chat. I'll have to see if I can see the chat well, or maybe Tiffany, you can tell me what you see in the chat if people do. But we're going to just do a fun little game, and I'm gonna put something on the screen here, and you're gonna tell me whether you think it strengthens our public image or it weakens our public image, okay? So we'll do the first one together, so you guys can see. So, neglecting to update your website and club logo. Do you think that strengthens or weakens?
Weakens.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. How about having a diverse club membership? Does that strengthen or weaken?
Strengthen.
Strengthen.
Posting photos of members working on service projects, strengthen or weaken?
Strengthen.
Yeah. Posting lots of photos of members at meetings, at meals or meetings, strengthens or weakens?
Weekends.
Weekends, right? What is Rotary all about? Okay, we'll talk a little bit about that one. Doing the same project every year because members love it. Does that strengthen or weaken?
Weakens.
Weakens.
Yeah, this one's kind of when I do this, sometimes people are like, it's a trick question, right? It depends. Is it really a project that serves the community, right? So I guess the key here is because members love it, right? We want to make sure that what we're doing is what the community, really can benefit by, not just what we think that they need. So, all right, promoting members as people of action.
Strengthen.
Involving past Rotary program participants and club activities.
Strengthens.
Involving only members to participate in your club's community events.
Weakens.
Pursuing projects and activities that are relevant to the community.
Strengthen.
Posting photos that don't reflect the diversity of our club and community.
Weakens.
Partnering with local organizations to increase our impact.
Strengthens.
assuming you don't have to promote your club, because everyone knows about Rotary.
We do.
Agree. Okay, you guys did really good there, but it's just good reminders, especially as you're thinking about, social media. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Before we do though, what I thought, because we are talking about membership, I thought I'd give you kind of just a quick overview of the state of membership, so that you can think about that as we dive into talking a little bit about social media. So if you did not know, actually Rotary International actually puts out a report. Any member can get this. This is available on My Rotary, an annual report on the state of membership. So this is the latest report, and obviously a new one will come out as soon as the Rotary year is over, once they've compiled that. So this was, it's almost a year old now, so some of the data may have changed, but it is important to see, and it really is eye-opening when you look at this. Again, as Tiffany talked about, I spent many years in district membership, so this is also near and dear to my heart, and I do think that membership and social media can really tie together in helping us grow. So, but as we think about membership, if you look at Rotary, we have 1.153 million members, and Rotaract 164,000 members. So many of you are probably aware that, for a long time, we've always said we had 1.2 million members. And now if you look at our website, it says 1.4 million members. And that's because we include Rotaract as part of that total, because Rotaract is not just a program, but Rotaract is officially part of Rotary now. And for those of you guys that have Rotaract clubs, know that Rotaract clubs are actually now paying dues as well. So that's why they're actually included in those numbers. So we have 36,000 clubs across the world in Rotary. That is just up 11 since July, and then 11,000 something Rotaract clubs, and that was down 179. And I think some of the changes that we recently made with Rotaract may have reflected in there too, because when people actually had to start paying dues and we were officially counting people is really probably why we saw some of the biggest differences with Rotaract there. And if you look at, we have 26% women in Rotary worldwide, but Rotaract, you can see, is a much big difference. We almost have gender parity. About 47% of the members in Rotaract are women. So, any of that surprise anybody? No. Yes. Karen, what surprised you that Rotaract, more women in Rotaract?
Yes, exactly. You're reading my mind.
Okay. All right. And so this is interesting also to look at when you look at Rotary across the world, and you think, well, what does this have to do with me? I think it speaks to a lot, because if you look at where Rotary is actually growing in the world, it is growing very significantly in Asia. You can see since 2014, clubs in Asia have grown 26%, or our overall membership base. So that's quite significant. And I'll talk a little bit more about where we see growth, and actual facts and stats from Rotary International that where we can drive growth. And then if you look at US, Canada, and the Caribbean, which they lump kind of all together, we're at negative 19% in terms of overall memberships numbers that we've had since 2014. So this isn't clubs, it's actually number of members specifically. Though we're not as bad in the US here specifically as some of the other countries, specifically Great Britain. You can see seeing significant declines in membership. Also Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands. So we're kind of right in the middle of the pack. But again, there are some things that Rotary International has drawn correlation to when, since they see, this throughout the globe, why is it that, that we're seeing growth in some areas and then we're seeing such significant decline in other areas? And so Rotary has provided what they feel are 3 pillars of sustainable growth. And the first is, welcoming new and diverse members. So it is so important, and that's why I think we're talking about today membership and social media, because those 2 things can really help us significantly there. The second pillar of sustainable growth is embracing a culture of care. And the third is starting and nurturing new clubs. And I'll talk a little bit about that today as it relates to my club that I referred to as well. And I'll have some more info here. New clubs, I want to just talk a little bit, as you may or may not be familiar with some of these terms, and these are things that you can look at the website, if at rotary.org/start club. There are a lot of different new formats other than a traditional format that you can use to start a Rotary club. So, for example, a satellite club it could be an extension of your existing club. They actually are members of the existing club. They would collaborate together, but they would choose their own structure. So this is a great way to kind of incubate maybe a new club if you're thinking about that in the new area. A passport club is where members can attend meetings of any other club in their community and or around the world that are members of this specific club. A corporate membership club, most of them work for the same employer. So if you're in an area where there's significant presence of a certain employer, that could be a great opportunity. And another one, we're seeing a lot of traction and specifically cause-based, where members unite to address a particular issue, and people are very passionate, especially if you talk about specific issues, and that can really help grow membership as well. So those are just some things to think about, especially as we continue to talk about this. And so, as I mentioned, Rotary had put together, based on their research of, where clubs were growing across the world, attributes of growing clubs. So you can see 1, active, intentional member engagement, dynamic, meaningful service, effective governance, intentional leadership, and then notice this one here, strong public image. So Rotary International isn't just me saying this. Rotary International recognizes of all those stats that they see, this is one of the key attributes of a growing club. And then diversity, equity, and inclusion, making sure that we're including everyone that's representative of our communities that we're serving in is very, very important. Okay, so what I want to show you, and we'll dive into this a little bit. So I did this presentation as well at my district pets earlier in spring. And so I wanted to see how our district was doing in terms of club growth since July 1. And so you will look here, Ponca City Trailblazers, sorry, at the front here is my club. And we chartered with 35 or 30 members, I'm sorry. In February, we were at 35. So we had 17% growth over when we chartered, which was the top amount of growth in the entire district. And so what I will share with you as we go through this presentation at the end here, I'm going to share with you a little bit about how we did that with social media. So I talked to you that we're tying these 2 things in together, and share some tips and tricks that you can use for your club. Because it doesn't have to be, you don't have to start a new club. You can use it for your, some of these tips and tricks for your, existing clubs as well. But I would, highly encourage you guys to think about, helping start a new club, right? I think a lot of clubs, especially older clubs, maybe are afraid that starting a new club will detract from their membership. And I think the opposite is true. It just gives more visibility in the community and people see that Rotary is growing. And there are more opportunities for clubs. So just wanted to share that just as a quick reference point, because I think it's important, again, as you think about Rotary specifically said, hey, social media is a key attribute. And I will tell you that has been a key attribute for our club specifically, again, which is the first new club in 40 years in this, my county. Yeah, so. Okay, let's talk a little bit then on going into strategies to drive membership, okay? And there are some key strategies that I want to talk about with you today, and those are storytelling, audience-centric branding, and partnerships, all very important to being able to drive membership. So we're going to start with storytelling, and we referenced in some of the game that we started, the people of action. So telling your people of action story. So in the text of your ad or social media post, it's important that we tell our people of action story. We want to keep it short, but informative and inspiring in as few words as possible. We want to say what we did. So let's say, you're on social media and you are sharing a service project maybe that you did. What action did you take? What specifically did you do to help the community? Offer statistics or other proof of difference that you made. What did you accomplish? How did your club's action change lives? Maybe we touched the lives of, 40 students or 100 students, or, we were able to, purchase, whatever it may be, right? Let's actually put what you guys did into words to make it more real. And I think that does a lot to especially accompany a picture that you might share on social media. And then it's important when you are telling your people of action story is to issue a call of action, right? So, why are you sharing that? What do you want the people to do with this information? And sometimes you have to tell people what you want them to do. Do you want them maybe you want people to help donate in the community to get involved. Maybe you want them to come participate. But you need to be very clear in your posts on social media to make sure that they understand what is it that you're asking. Instead of just, oh, that's cool. But no, we want people to join. Come join us, right? This is why you should come join us. So that's important as you think about anything in social media that you're doing, those things that we can really tell, again, people of action. And I think, when I think of people of action, to me, it is really important because I think a lot of people still have a hard time if someone asks you, what is Rotary? Sometimes people have a hard time with, well, it's not that we don't know what Rotary is. Rotary does a lot of different things, right? I mean, there's several different areas of focus that we can work on. There's just so many things that Rotary is. So if you think about, this is a very easy way for us to say, what is Rotary or who is Rotary? We're people of action. Very simple answer. Then if we want to dive in, especially to telling people more, we can do that. But it's just a great, great way to be able to describe who we are. So, okay. And this is a good example of where we can use the people of action overlay. Has anyone ever used the people of action overlay in Brand Center or aware of it?
Yes, I've used it.
Awesome.
And we're going to show them how to use it this afternoon.
Yay! Okay, good. And I'm not going into a whole lot here, other than it is very important. So, and something easy we can do, especially because you can, Tiffany will show you, you can use your own photos, with this. So, again, people of action is very important. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about audience-centric branding. And so what I mean about that is that we're thinking about who is the audience that we're talking about. So when we're talking about Rotary public image, who is the audience when we're talking about public image? If you're a public image chair, or who is your audience?
Everybody, anybody that's on social media.
Yeah.
Community, our club members, potential club members.
Yeah, though I would say very specifically, public image is external facing. Public image is not about writing a newsletter to your, internal members. And you might, and maybe that, you have that person do that extra role. But when Rotary thinks about public image, it means external facing, right?
That's a huge-
Literally our public.
That's a huge pet peeve of mine, Angela, when clubs use their Facebook page to, give specific communication to their members.
Yeah.
I mean, announcing an event is one thing, but you don't need to give instruction and give all kinds of stuff to your members through your social media page.
Right. I think there's a couple ways you can handle that, right? And one of that is some clubs choose to have a page that's for members only, right? So that you can communicate some of those things. But if you're not going to do that, you need to think about, and I'll share some of this at a little bit later on examples for my club. When we have our meeting info out there, our wording isn't directed. I mean, even though it is relevant to members and members can get information on it, it's more directed to the public, like why you should come join this meeting, right? And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So when we're thinking about, again, audience-centric branding, so questions to ask, again, who are you trying to reach with your messaging? So if you're making a post on social media, who are you trying to reach? And this could be even more specific than just the general public, right? Like maybe you're trying to reach, college students so that you can start a new Rotary club. Maybe you're trying to reach individuals of a different demographic than you have in your club. So just think about that and being specific when you're trying to reach with your messaging. What are the interests of the audience? Is there a particular passion, in your community or the demographic that you're reaching out to make sure that, we can really tie into that as well? And that's really important. And what does the audience need to be able to connect with your messaging, right? So again, having that call to action or a way for them to be able to follow up on any actions that you're putting out there. So that's very important. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples here, and I pulled this from my district, so we were not picking on anyone in your district here. But I want you to take a look at both of these posts, okay? So first, I'm not going to pick on any club because, I'm glad that they're out there doing these things. And obviously you can see already there's some wrong logos, right? So we're not talking about that right now. Go ahead and ignore the logos, even though Tiffany, I know it's making you crazy. It's making me crazy, right? But okay, but let's just look at we're talking about the audience-centric branding. So the first one, this Edmond Summit Rotary. And so they have a picture of, it looks like their newsletter, and the caption for their post is, another great program this Tuesday morning at 7:15 a.m. in Vault 405, downtown Edmond. So I'm going to stop on that one. What could they have done differently with this post, or what didn't they do, especially as it relates to audience-centric branding?
What was great about it?
Yeah,
Come join us.
yeah, no call to action. Didn't
Yeah, no
describe it.
comment.
There's no link to the article.
No link to article. Yeah, absolutely.
Is this a post
Yes,
event
this
or
is
is
a
this
post.
a
This is a
pre-event?
Facebook post.
No, I
Yeah,
mean, is it after the event or is it before?
I think it's before because it says this morning. Yes. So they had posted a picture, kind of a snippet of their newsletter, and then saying that there was a program that morning.
Yeah, it's a little late to put out a thing that happened in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Renee said punctuation also, because there's no punctuation between, or no space between downtown and Edmond.
Yeah, you want to make sure that what you're putting out there looks professional, absolutely. So when I looked at this post, I actually kind of, and then I know it's hard to see here, you guys, but like when I looked at it and I was reading about this inspirational speaker, it says Harold Welliver. Harold is the founder and CEO of YKIT. It's a life coach, inspirational speaker, business consultant. And I was thinking, what we really missed an opportunity to talk about how, and Tiffany, you talked about this yourself personally, that in Rotary, we help develop leaders, right? You want to, that's another benefit of joining. And I think all of us, no matter what stage of a career that we're in, especially, some of the roles that we take on in Rotary and with you guys taking on this role, I think we've all developed as leaders. So this could have been a great opportunity for us to talk about the why. I know someone said that, but Rotary helps develop leaders. This is, we have a speaker today that will do just that. Come, check out what we're all about, right? So, and it doesn't have to be super long, right? We don't want to make, a giant long post on Facebook, but we really missed an opportunity because it sounds like this could have been a great program. I am sure it was, right? A lot of our clubs have great programs, but why is it relevant to them, right? Is that what Rotary does? Is Rotary just as a place where we go listen to speakers? No. There's a purpose behind that. So that's where I think we really missed an opportunity. The next one here I'm gonna go over this is Midwest City Rotary, and it is a picture of their speaker, and it says, join us Monday at noon. Okay, so any feedback on this post?
Way too vague. You don't know what it is.
Yeah. If you're not a Rotarian and you see this, are you gonna go join the meeting?
No, what's the point of me coming? Why am I coming? What's the reason?
Yeah, I mean, so when I think about this post, I think about, the Rotary Foundation, wow. It is the top rated, has been top rated, in Charity Navigator for X amount of years. Or we give, the Rotary Foundation gives billions of dollars to XYZ projects. How about come learn about how the Rotary Foundation can help benefit our community through grants, right? Maybe, or maybe they could have given an example of they had done district grant, a district grant they did in their community, like, hey, we recently installed this park in, our city, thanks to the Rotary Foundation. Do you want to learn how we can do more things about that? Come see, come join us to learn more and how you can be part of that effort, right? Something super simple that ties in, okay, what is the Rotary Foundation? Maybe how it had benefited their community because they had a district grant where they got matching funds from that. But there's a lot of things that we could do differently if we're thinking about who is our audience. And to me, I think this club is really thinking, Landon, to your point, they're really just thinking this is to our members. Hey, join us Monday at noon. That we got Larry Stone.
Right.
Everybody knows what the Rotary Foundation is. There's no explanation, but this is the public post, right? So
Yeah.
if
And
you're on social media and it's open to the public, you have to think public image is external facing. It is not to your internal members specifically. So, and again, your members can benefit from it and see that information, but you should be talking about to your external facing audience. Greg,
Renee
yeah.
had a good point in the chat. You know, where are we joining you at noon on Monday? They don't, they tagged the church, but they didn't actually say come to the church or come wherever to hear it.
Yeah, and I think it's probably because you know, again, they're talking to their members. They're members now, right?
Right.
Greg has
Yeah.
a question too.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg.
Thanks. And maybe this is just my HR background, but pet peeve, is this guy's name Rod? Is this guy's name Larry?
No. Yeah.
When you use acronyms that
Yeah.
people don't know, that turns off people that don't know. I think his name's Rod, but I don't know that. And I sure don't know him. So be in life, but certainly in posting, make sure if there's any ambiguity other than FBI or CIA, spell it.
Or IRS, maybe. And yeah. No, hey, Greg, I love that because I didn't even catch that until now. Like, you know, because again, I'm so libertarian of the day, right? But that is such a great point, right? Because I think most people would be like, why did they spell his name in all caps, right? Rod Larry Stone, right? So absolutely. So again, you know, I never want to bash any club for, you know, trying and at least being out there because, you know, we have a lot of clubs that aren't, but there are easy things that we can do. And I will share with you, I did this with these clubs. So these clubs are aware and we had a good time and they were very gracious about like, okay, yeah, we get it. We get it. So it is good to look at. So hopefully that kind of helps draw for you, you know, like the point that we've got to really be able to work on that. So, all right, I think I switched the wrong way here. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, I know we're kind of about halfway through here, partnerships. We talked about, you know, this is certainly a way to be able to increase our impact. And we can really amplify our service with working or collaborating with other local organizations. So if you think about if you're doing something on social media, or you're involving another organization, if you tag those other organizations or businesses, that increases your followers and people that are going to see. And if you're using the right audience-centric messaging, that increases your membership pool, right? So we want more visibility out there. So, and more people to know what we do and how we work with individuals. So that's why partnerships is really, really important and can amplify what we're doing. So we can use your club's affiliation with a partner by using custom logos. So this is specifically if you're doing a project with them. So there is a logo lockup that you can use. I don't think we would use this just in everyday circumstances unless there's a specific project where there is a specific partnership together. But you can, like I said, also do, connections together. I'm sorry. My keyboard keeps moving ahead. Okay. So
Karen's got a quick question.
So we talked about partnerships. What I also want to talk about a little bit is, oh, is this the right place? Sorry. Yes, so we're going to talk a little bit about how you can use audience-centric branding. And I know, Tiffany, you have some stuff on AI. So I'm not going to talk about like how to do this, but I'm going to talk about, so at the very beginning, I talked to you guys about my club, which is the Ponca City Trailblazers Rotary Club, and how we grew. So one of the things that I did was I created scripts in ChatGPT to be more specific and helping. So only 5 of us were existing Rotary members and the rest 25 were brand new members. So our social media manager had never been in Rotary. So I wanted to create some things for her to help her understand how, how we can share. So just so from examples, we just saw the examples of those other clubs that just said join Rotary. So when I went in, I created these scripts. So for example, it kind of gives a call to action. So for example, ready to witness the power of service in action. Join us this Tuesday at 6 for our service project. It's a chance to connect with fellow community members, share our commitments to making a difference, and contribute to projects that uplift lives, right? And so you could customize this with whatever specific project that you were doing. But you can see, I gave, together we transform our community through action. Rotary is all about rolling up our sleeves, making connections, and being the change we wish to see. So maybe that would be a good post, if we were out maybe cleaning a park or doing something, maybe a physical service activity. Let's say you're talking about your speaker. Well, okay, maybe that doesn't sound very interesting to talk about speakers. But one of the ways that I found was good to talk about maybe speakers is join us as we welcome the speaker, because Rotary is all about staying connected to our community, gaining insights, and taking action together, right? So the speaker that you're having maybe will help connect you with a project or some other way that you can connect with your community or that you can take action, right? This one is Rotary is your connection to the heartbeat of our community. Join us, and then again, you can insert specific details. So the point I'm making here is that it is important to make sure, again, that we're using audience-centric branding, but it doesn't have to be difficult. You can use, AI. So I have probably like 200 of these scripts, and all I did was went to ChatGPT. I said, hey, write a Facebook post, 50 words or less. And I said, here's some information about Rotary and why people should join our Punk City Trailblazers meeting at Tuesday at 6, right? So you give it some background, and then, it'll pop some out and you say, give me 10 more, give me 10 more. And so literally I have a template for this on why to join Rotary, why you should come join a service project, what areas of focus, more details on that. I have one that's about polio, scripts, and Tiffany, I'm happy to share with anyone any of these if you guys want to go along. But again, it doesn't have to be difficult. And so, because I know some of our clubs, may not be the best at coming up with things, but it does not have to be difficult. You can use AI for that too. And I know we could probably spend hours alone on AI, and I'm going to let Tiffany talk a little bit more about that. I just want you to see what you can do and what my club has done there. Okay. And so I would like to, and I don't know that we have a whole lot of time here, but maybe want you to think about if you're, pulling up your club's social media, and this is what I have put together. It's like this strong brand checklist. What could you observe that would be improved? So again, reinforcing what Tiffany already started with. Do we have consistency with their brand elements, the logo, the voice and messaging, images, color, typography, the Rotary name? All of those things she covered. Are we showing that we're people of action? Are we promoting Rotary partnerships? Are we storytelling? And are we using audience-centric branding, right? So I would just challenge you to, maybe after we get off here, or you have some time, or even do this exercise with your club. This can be really fun, maybe with your board, to just take an honest look at what you guys are doing on social media to see if you're meeting all of these particular criteria. And I think you'll find, as we looked at those other posts, like, oh wow, that was really bad, because I'm telling you, those clubs kind of laughed at it. They didn't realize at the time, but this like, oh yeah, that was bad. Right? So it'll really put it in perspective. So Okay, moving on here. So I talked to you a little bit about my club that we just chartered. We're going to be a year old on July 2nd, so we're almost a year old. But what we did to start our club really was all focused on social media. So but I think you could certainly use these tips and tricks to grow an existing club. So one of the first things that we did on social media was we just kind of did a blitz. So we live in a small rural area, and the town that I live in is about 30,000 people. But there are several smaller towns around us that are 5,000, 2,000, so we're kind of like when people are going to town, they're coming to the big city, Ponca City. And there used to be clubs in the surrounding areas that aren't there anymore. So we thought it would be really cool to focus on getting people in the wider Ponca City area to be able to connect. And this is, we're kind of part of a couple of different counties, but as a community, we really work together. But as a Rotary Club, there's only a Rotary Club of Ponca City. So we did basically a blitz, and we did kind of a road show. We went, and so these are just examples of, so we went to Blackwell, we went to Tonkawa, we went to Newkirk, we went to Port. We went to all of these areas and did basically a meet and greet at maybe like a local restaurant, and just had some informal conversations with individuals about what Rotary was. So it was there are 3 founding members of our club. And so we just went and had a drink, had casual conversations with individuals to share with them about what Rotary is, because a lot of people don't know. And again, we use social medias. This is an actual event that we created so people could mark if they were going or not. We could drive more interest to that, and literally we just blitz. So, and again, if you so to charter a new club, you need a member of number 20 is the minimum number. We actually had 30. So this was very effective for us in getting just the word out through social media. Some of the things that we did too on social media, I want to share with you, these are things that we shared. So we put together, again, this is a call to action. And we use QR codes, right? So, and this one you can click on a link, but we also had things that we could send to individuals or to post places that would allow them to sign up. And I'll show you other ways we use social media to allow people to do that. But we were very clear in, sharing, who we were trying to reach out to and why. Do you want to make a difference? Do you want to grow as a leader? Do you want to connect in your community and to be able to serve? And so we talked about uniting leaders through impactful projects and collaborative partnerships, right? So again, this is something that we started sharing on social media, again, just very heavily who we are, what we're all about, right? Because we're external facing. We weren't talking to people maybe that had tentatively signed up, but really talking about what we were trying to do here. In the next example here, as we started to get members, and these are a couple of our founding members, one of the things sometimes people don't realize that maybe your friends and neighbors are Rotarians, right? Like maybe it's just, and no offense to anyone, but maybe it's just just the old guys, right? Just that are Rotarians. And what we really wanted to highlight here, because again, if you saw the statistics, only 27% of Rotarians are women in North America, right? So what we wanted to highlight to people is that there are young women in our club, hey, people can see themselves in this, right? And so we did member spotlight. So Brick, who is one of our founding members, we just did a super small quote of why she joined Rotary. She said she found a place where she could help those in need locally and around the world. Boom. That very simple. And then this is Ashley. And she actually was a new member that joined our board. And again, so we wanted people to be able to connect the dots. Like when they think about who is Rotary, it's not some secret society. It's your friends, your neighbors, your people that you work with, right? And so, yeah, come get involved and come be a part of that. So I think that could be really important to highlight. Individuals, especially if you've got, people that you think, hey, we want to get more people of this demographic, whether it be young or female or whatever it may be, to be able to highlight that Rotary is a very diverse organization, obviously globally, but again, it should be reflective of the communities that we serve as well. So, okay, and I talked about this a little bit too. So you can do a lot in social media. So this is an example of our Facebook page. You can actually go in, if you click on these three little dots here, you can click on, we've set it up so you can click on sign up, and then it will pop up an actual membership inquiry form. So, and you can't see the whole, it's like 5 questions, like what's your name? Where do you work? What's your contact, phone number? And then it's, how did you hear about Rotary? And obviously most of it's social media, because we've gotten 20 leads in the last, 6 months through this alone. And again, that's how we're growing our membership, because we're so active on social media and sharing those types of things that they can just directly try to join from here. And then the last one is why are you interested in getting involved? So this is a Google form. If you haven't used Google Forms, and Tiffany, I know you probably knows how to do that. But it's just super simple. They'll fill it out, and then you can have it sent directly to you, the form response, and then you can contact those individuals. So it's just another way, if they're already on social media or heard about you, to quickly say, hey, I want to know about this club, and then you can take action on that. So I just wanted to share that as a way to be able to quickly get members, and how we have been able to really get the word out in terms of our club and grow our club membership as well. So, all right. Okay, that actually comes to the end here of what I had, but I definitely wanted to leave some more time for questions that you may have. Kind of went quickly through some of that. Also, I'm leaving with you just some, the Zone website, which is a great resource, and has some also past events. So if you want to, I actually did a full session on ChatGPT. There's a recorded webinar on there on the Zone. There's there's another Canva lesson. So maybe, I know Tiffany will do a great job here, but maybe there's you want another perspective. There's a Canva one on there. The Zone website is a really great resource. And then of course, Brand Center. You should be using that for everything: club logos, graphics, and brand guidelines. So I'm really and here to serve however I can as our assistant public image coordinator for Zone 31. But I will let you guys ask maybe any questions that you have then before I wrap up. Let me go back to when she said post the member spotlight on Facebook and website, just Facebook. So our club only has a Facebook. We do not have a website. We're very, I don't know, new school. And we don't even have a website. We do everything through Facebook. So.
The Zone,
other
the
questions?
Zone website is a great resource. Sometimes I'll go
Anything
there.
that you want me to send Tiffany to be able to share with you guys? No.
Thank you, Angela.
Not here
Just looking
today.
at your page, 2 things
Okay.
jump out. One is the fact that it appears your
All right,
Facebook
Tiffany, I guess
page.
I'll hand it back over to you.
Angela, can you hear us?
I can't hear. Is it just me?
Yeah.
Tiffany, can you say something?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Greg,
Landon, were you saying something before?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can now. Yeah.
I think Greg Holland had a quick question or a
Okay.
comment.
Thanks, Lana, and thanks, Angela. This was very informative. When I look at your Facebook page, two things stand out. One is the fact that you acknowledge that you don't post more than, a handful of activities a month. So you don't flood people with several posts a day. And I know I find myself sometimes when I look to join a group, I'll see how frequently they post. And if they're posting 8 to 10 a day, other than Tiffany, I probably won't sign up. But the exception being, and I really do think folks ought to take a look at that Ponca City Trailblazers Rotary Club, because their May 1st post on how to stand together to raise money for Sulphur, Oklahoma's tornado victims is, I think, a pretty good classic example of a number of things she talked about, hashtags, everything. It talks about what they're doing, why they're doing it, how you can participate. It's this crawfish. I mean, it's really packed in that one post on May 1st. Just a ton of stuff that if I'm local and not a member of Rotary, I'm going to want to hang out with these people. So I commend you on that, Angela.
Yeah, thank you. And I think you bring up a good point. Like I actually am personally, I go find Rotary clubs to follow to get ideas. And when
Yes.
we were starting our club, there was this club in it was Lightsview, Australia. And it was like, okay, nothing to do with here, but they had the coolest posts and just different things. I love following that clubs and their journey. So go out and find, clubs, especially other clubs in your district, but I think you can get inspiration from clubs and seeing what they're doing there. So I would definitely encourage you to do that, even if you're not necessarily going to attend their meetings. So thank you, Greg. Yeah, we'd love you to, follow us and who knows, maybe we can do something with 5830 sometime. I know we just had district conference, right? So together, yes. Okay, and then anyone else then? Oh, and then there was a question about the zone website. So the zone website is absolutely open to everyone. You do not need permissions to go to that. So you should be able to go there right now.
I just shared the link.
Okay, yeah.
And it is a great tool. Sometimes I'll go to the zone website before I go to Brand Center just to get the link to get to the right place in Brand Center, because it's it's a lot easier to manipulate that website.
Yeah. And while we're talking to, I should have probably done this, but put a plug in for this. Tiffany, do you know, have you shared or even Karen, the zone summer seminars coming up? Yes. Okay. So if you guys aren't, if you haven't read emails that came out or whatever, the zone is putting on a series of seminars. They do it every year. And one of the topics is always public image. They will be happening. I'll have to pull up the list, but I think we've got probably in your area would be closest to be Shreveport or Little Rock, would be the two closest to where you are at. I will be actually doing the session in Shreveport. But certainly we can post, and there's a link for that too. If you're interested, we definitely encourage people to attend that as chairs for public image. I think would be very beneficial to you if you want to do a road trip with each other, and maybe you can meet me in Shreveport. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Angela.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone. Another quick break. We will be back at 10:10. So please take a break and stretch and get a snack or whatever you need. And be back here at 10:10. All right. Hope everybody had a nice break. I know I always appreciate the breaks on when there's a long meeting. I've had to run out of my office before because they didn't provide a break. So I hope everybody got something to drink and had a little time to stretch. But we're going to get into a lot of content creation now. And one of my favorite tools is Canva, and I've been using it for about 5 years now. And there are so many things that you can do with Canva. And it has so many more capabilities than I even utilized. And there are several different Canva options, and there is a free version, and that's the version I'm going to be sharing with you today. But there are also a paid version and a nonprofit version, and I also use a nonprofit version for my 9 to 5 job, 8 to 5 job. But I want you to know that there is a free version that you can use, and that's what we will be showing you today. And Canva can do just about everything. You can create social media posts, you can create presentations, you can create flyers, business cards, you can edit videos and create videos, and it also helps you to remain brand compliant, which is really cool because we want to stay brand compliant with colors and fonts. And you can do that with the free version as well. The expanded version, the paid version, gives you a little bit more that is available as far as brand compliance, but you can do quite a bit with the paid version. You can also create teams in Canva. So if you have a public image team, which I highly recommend because this is more than a one-person job, and you can share your creations across to other people. And also you can store everything in one place with Canva, including your photos and logos, and everything is right there at your fingertips. And I'm gonna, yeah, is somebody talking?
Hey, yeah, DG Karen asked if you use Canva to create your slides,
I did not. I use PowerPoint. I prefer
but you could
PowerPoint. Yes,
if
you
you
can.
wanted to.
And I have had presenters come and give me a Canva presentation, and you can share, if you create your presentation through Canva, you can share just that file with somebody else so they can display it. For instance, I had a presenter a few months ago at a Rotary meeting. She sent me her slides through Canva, and she shared that one file with my Canva account, and I was able to pull it up at our Rotary meeting and present it. So that's another cool feature of Canva. But I'm going to show you how it all works and how easy that it is to utilize Canva. I know there is a lot on this screen, and it just shows all the capabilities it has as far as documents and videos and creating websites. But also, the thing that I use it for the most is creating social media posts. And it is truly very simple to use, and I'm going to show you just how simple. And if I'm going to go up here in the top right-hand corner to create the design, and we're just going to dive right into it. And you can see there's lots of options as far as what type of design you want to create. If you're wanting to do a Facebook story or an Instagram story, or even create your Facebook cover in the proper size and create Instagram reels and stories. But I'm going to focus today on what most of us use, and that's Facebook. And I'm going to create a Facebook post. And I'm just going to go right here to Facebook post. And it brings you this lovely blank slate. And this might be kind of intimidating, but it is really very simple because Canva provides a whole array of templates that can be used. And whatever your if you, well, you can start with a blank one, that's fine. But with all the templates that it provides, it's really best, especially when you're beginning, to start with one of their templates. And as you can see, there's a crown on some of these, and those are features that are not available on this free version. But if you had a paid version or went through the procedure to obtain a nonprofit account with your Rotary Club, you would have access to those items. But there is plenty available with the free version. So I'm going to just create, since Father's Day is coming up, I'm going to create a Father's Day post for, let's say, our district. And I click on this template that's available. See what I did? I just clicked on this template, and what you can do is just type in what you're looking for. And I typed in Father's Day, and it brings up several options that you can use, and just pick your favorite. And I selected this one because it has a photo option. And what's cool about Canva is they have the structure already built for you. And I want to drop a photo in here of maybe a Rotarian, or let's see what photo I have in here. Okay, our fire chief is here. We've got a picture of the fire chief in my file. So I'm going to use that photo, and I'm just going to take that photo and click on it, and it brings it over to my image. And the really neat thing about Canva is it's got it already built where this photo can be dropped into this box here. And I'm going to drop it in, and that didn't work. Why didn't it work? It usually just drops in. Okay. I'm going to drop it into this area here. A lot of times you can just drop it in and it'll take it right to the.
Delete the one that's there, Tiffany.
Okay, that's why it didn't work. Like it worked last night. Thank you. All right.
No, you got it sized right. Good.
No.
Actually, it doesn't look like it's like, it usually has that a certain background when it does the drop in, but
yeah, it didn't. Okay, so I'm gonna go up here, and
what you might want to do is highlight the blank box, get rid of the picture you added, now highlight that and go over and select the picture. No, highlight just the black box you want.
Yeah, it's removed it. I'm gonna pull up a new design. Okay, we're gonna start over. Because it's such a neat feature. I want you to be able to see it. There. You got it, hadn't messed with it too much, but see how I brought in that photo of our fire chief, because he's a dad. And another cool thing about this is I talked about staying on brand, and I brought in our Rotary logo because, and I'm not going to use this one in our image, and I'll tell you why in a minute, but I brought it in so I can pull in the proper colors. And what I'm going to do is I want to change the fonts to be brand compliant. And if I click on happy and go up to where the font text color is listed, it will bring up all the different colors that are being used in this image. And right here are the colors for our Rotary colors that were brought in because I brought the logo in. So if I want to change this happy to the proper brand color, I just click on the brand colors that are offered over here on the left because I brought the logo in with the right colors. That's why it gives me those options. And I want to change Father's Day to the blue, the Rotary blue. And there it brings in the proper colors. And because I want to remain brand compliant with fonts, I'm going to change the fonts to Arial because that's one of the options that Rotary gives us. And you can change the sizes to make them more visually appealing. And the only reason why I brought that logo in was to have the colors available to me, because if I hadn't brought those in, it wouldn't bring in the Rotary colors. And I don't want to use this particular font for this image because it doesn't show up very well, because I want to use it on the tie here. So I have a white background logo for our district, and I'm going to use it and drop it right here on the tie because it shows up a little bit better than the other logo. And that took, what, 2 minutes to create that post. And this is an image you can just drop into social media, which is really handy. And once you have the image created, you just go up here to the right-hand side. Can y'all still see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, gotcha.
Okay. All right. You just go up to the top right-hand corner where it says share and click share and scroll down to download. And then you download the image, and you can download it in different formats, but I always use the PNG for my particular ones that I do. And you click download and it downloads it to your computer. Now there are options to share directly to social media. I don't use that feature, just personal preference. But now this is saved in my documents on my computer, and I'm going to go in a little bit and show you how to use that post and integrate artificial intelligence and also schedule a post through Facebook. But I want to share some other information here, and we'll go to we'll create another design. And let's just pick something easy. All right, and I'm going to pull in and show you how you can change those colors. Say we want this lemon, I guess it's a lemon, to be brand compliant in color. I'm going to click on the color. And as you can see, it brings up a number here. And those are those numbers that I was referring to from the brand kit for Rotary. And if you want to bring in the proper numbers, you just type in those numbers and it changes our lemon to Rotary blue. And now it's brand compliant. It's that easy. But if you've already got the logo in, it's even easier because those colors are already part of your palette for this particular project. So I can change the cherry stems to the gold, and I can change the cherries to the blue because those colors are already there. But you want to be careful when you're creating posts through Canva because you want to make sure, first of all, you're using your proper logos, but there is a lot of play that needs to happen here just to discover how things work. See, I was trying to manipulate my logo and it went away. But one of the good features that I like about Canva is that it doesn't allow you to distort your logo. See how I'm just using the blocks, the guides here to create a larger logo, unlike using Word or Publisher, when if you manipulate the arrows, it will shrink or distort your logo. That's one of the great features of Canva. I also want to show you another feature. I said you could store all of your images here, but if, say for instance, I don't have the image that I want, all you do is go to upload files, and it will take you to your computer files, and you can select an image that you want. And say I want to use this image, and this is a photo that I took, so I have complete permission to use this photo, and it uploads directly to Canva. And I want to use this to create a post. So I'm going to just click on it, and you can very easily make this the size that you want to utilize it in Canva. And I like to use this as a palette for maybe a quote or an inspirational post. And one of the ones you can use this to put in an inspirational quote, such as the one I used earlier today by Paul Harris, but you can include anything. And it's really easy. You just go to text and click add heading or add subheading, whichever you would want to use. And then you type in your inspirational post. And then you have the words for your post. And then you just manipulate it so it looks good. And I recommend, especially as you create posts for your club, to always add your club's logo. Like if I was going to do South Tyler Rotary, I would probably pull in the white logo rather than this one. And since I have the white logo ready to go for the district, I'm going to use this one. So everyone knows that this was created by District 5830. And I'm going to go and change the font to be brand compliant. And another great thing about Canva is if for some reason you wanted this font and the wording to stand out even more, you can click on your photo and make it more transparent by using this transparency icon. And you can just change the transparency so it's a little bit lighter. And a lot of times, depending on your photo and your logo, you may want to do that so your words stand out, or vice versa. And then if you want to use that, then you just go to share and download again, and then it goes into your files. And as you can see, all the logos and photos that I've used in the past are stored here. There's one of Paul Harris that I've used for a quote, and logos that I've used for sponsorship posts for our spaghetti supper. And they're all there, they're all saved, and they can be used at a later date.
Hey, Tiffany.
Yes.
Diana has a quick comment. Recently began using Microsoft Designer for the Tour de Cyprus Facebook post. She says it's fairly similar to Canva, but she's wondering, does Canva incorporate AI?
I don't know if they have added that feature yet. I haven't used it for AI, but
Angela says thumbs up.
okay, good. Everybody's using AI now, right?
Like
Yeah.
Tiffany, if you like click on have a great day, be the sunshine, click on that.
Okay.
And then
Oh,
click magic right. Like that's AI. Like
all right.
sprinkle fairy dust or whatever, more formal, or just click on sprinkle fairy dust. That one's funny. But
See,
try it out.
this is the a free version, so I don't know if
Oh, okay.
that'll
But
work.
so that is, for example, AI, like it'll send it completely write things for you. And then from imaging, there is options in there as well too. But this one's a very simple way to do it. Like, oh, you want to shorten it, you wrote it too long or something like that. So you might have to highlight the text, but I don't know.
Okay.
One of the cool things about Designer is that when you open it, you can
Oh, there
you
you
can
go.
type in to it, and it will allow you to type in what you'd like, and it'll build it for you, or you can start with a blank slate.
All right, well, I have to give that a try. Yes, all you had to do was highlight the text, go to Magic Write, and it made it more interesting. May your day be filled with splendor, radiate like the sun itself.
That is a little fairy dust.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. Like the shortened one is very helpful because sometimes I get too wordy, and then it does a really nice job of like, okay, being very succinct for you. So like if you click shorten on there, that might help you.
And it's got a fixed spelling prompt, which is great because sometimes Canva, if you working through it too fast, you can misspell things, and that's a great feature too. I will be definitely using that. And we'll go into AI a little bit more in chat GPT, but
Hey, Tiffany, we do have one other question.
yes.
DG Karen is wondering, you pulled in the logo and you can use the logo colors on the other fonts and things, but what if you wanted to use some of the other colors in the Rotary brand kit? How would you load those into your Canva? And I guess you're probably going to go over that in a second.
Well, with this free version, you can't use the brand kit, but you can change the colors, the elements, just by adding in those. Let me go back to this one. It's when we clicked on the lemon. See, I clicked on the yellow because I want to change that to be a brand color. If you click on that color in the documents, right here where the hash or the pound sign, hashtag, whatever you want to call it, however old you are or young you are is what you call it. But right here is where you would pull in, say, that fuchsia color number from the brand kit from Brand Center, and type that number in, and it would bring the right color in. Does that make sense?
Yes, so you would have to go to the brand center on the website that we looked at a little while ago,
Yes.
get those numbers and key it in here.
Yes, and it has all of those numbers on the brand kit within Brand Center. And I just showed it the example earlier because I had the logo up. So when you go to the yellow, here are the colors within the logo. So say, for instance, we want to change the yellow to that one, but we can also see the number. The F6A50A is the number that would be plugged in from that brand kit to make that yellow the on brand color.
And Tiffany, I noticed you also had the Singapore logo on there. So if we just upload different Rotary compliant logos, we could do the same thing, right?
Yep, like the one for next year, the Magic of
Right.
Rotary, if you bring that in, I can use that yellow for our bananas.
Thanks.
Because
Once you change colors in there, does it keep it permanently inside your own login area? So if you go in and add all the colors per the correct hash codes or hexadecimal codes for them, will they automatically be there?
if you have the paid version or the nonprofit version, you can create this brand kit right here on the left-hand side, and then it will store them. I don't think, well, it looks like you can add some here.
Okay.
So it is allowing me to add some of these. I didn't realize you could do that with the free version. I go back and forth with the free and the paid one, but yes, so then you can go ahead and store your Rotary colors right in here. It
Looks like you hit
you only
the
do
limit there.
Yep, only 3, but why not enter the 3 main ones from the Rotary logo, so they're always there. So then you don't have to drop the logos in every time.
That
But
takes a few minutes to set it up on the front end, but it's well worth it if you have that version.
yeah, and it will put your logos in there, your fonts, you can create your fonts and all the colors from the brand kit, so they're readily accessible. But that is an absolutely horrible post. But another great things about Canva is it stores all of your creations. So here are the things that we've already created. And all of the posts that I've created in the past on this version are also here, which is really nice because you can recycle. And since I spent a couple of years as the social media chair with South Tyler Rotary, once I came into the district, I started going back to the beginning of the posts that I created with South Tyler Rotary and started using them as district posts and just changed the logos, which is really nice because then I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. But this is one that I created from a photo that was taken at our district training in April when we had the solar eclipse. And we didn't have a meeting for the actual solar eclipse day. And I just used this photo and it got a lot of traction because people like to see people in their post. And I used the logo that was created from Brand Center for our club. And this was my no meeting post for that day. But as you can see, there are lots of different options here of different things you can create. It's a great tool to create your flyers for publication for your events. You can create your stories. You can make these posts a little bit more interesting by adding animation, which is really fun. And all of the posts that I create for the district and for our club are created in Canva. I don't use anything else because this is what is easy for me and I can create posts really quickly, and you can too. All right. Let me.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So if I can figure out finally how to do Canva, then can I take one of those creations and drop it into a PowerPoint?
Yes, you can. Because once you save that post, once you go to download and save it, it comes over and it's over in your documents, in your downloads. Can y'all see this? What I'm doing? I guess not.
No, we don't see that.
Hold on, let's see. It will be in your downloads and say, I'll take this. I'm gonna share. Yes, Karen, you can. Because that file, once you share it, it's in your downloads on your computer. And then you can just copy and paste it into your presentation. And I can show you how to do that offline. Not a problem.
It looks like the nonprofit pricing is free.
Yes, Bill, it is, but there is a process that you have to go through
Qualify.
to qualify, yes. And sometimes it takes a few times. I had, oh goodness. All right. You have to show proof of your nonprofit status, and there's lots of other things that you have to provide.
Is that something that could be done at the district level? So that all clubs get the free?
No, because you get an individual sign on. You know, I might try it for my club and see if I can get that, get a version for Rotary. And I can share that information with you if it works for a Rotary club. I don't know of any Rotary clubs that have applied for it. But I don't see why we wouldn't qualify.
Well, I know that some clubs actually are nonprofits on their own, like we're not. Right, Greg? We never went through the process.
Okay. Do you have a foundation set up through your club that is a nonprofit?
To my
Some
knowledge,
do, we don't.
Okay.
yeah, we don't. Right, Greg?
Correct. Some do.
Some do,
All the
but we
clubs
don't.
should be a 501c4 underneath Rotary's umbrella, though.
I get that. Well, that's the key question is we're underneath the umbrella, and for each club, does that satisfy the needs of Canva?
I will look into that, Bill, and see what I can find out and see if we would qualify as individual clubs as a 501c4.
Okay.
And I will report back. How's that?
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome. All right, let's get into what we should post. Now, Angela mentioned that we want to make sure that we are communicating to our audience and that it's external that we're talking to. And this will vary depending if you have a private Facebook page or a public Facebook page. So you want to be aware of what you're posting depending on who your audience is. But we're talking about an external, outward facing post. So we talked a little bit about speaker announcements, and this is a great tool to attract people as guests to your meetings. And we do this every Monday morning at 6:30. I post who our speaker will be for that afternoon for South Tyler Rotary. And this lets everybody know who our speaker is. And it gives a little blip about the speaker, and it invites people to come, invites people to bring a guest, and it tells what our meal is because everybody's about the food. They always want to know what the food is. So I share who is providing the meal that day. But a little deeper into that, we encourage our members to share that speaker announcement on their own pages and invite people to come. So there's your call to action. So I know Lee Montgomery shares every single thing that we post, but he posts on his own page. Hey, look, Chief Tolar is coming to speak today. Come hear the Chief of Police speak and learn more about Rotary. That's all it takes. Speaker announcements are an amazing way to get people to your meetings. And we talked about sharing people in action. I love the new or the templates that put the overlays of people in action, and we'll go over that in just a little bit. But people doing something in the community gets a lot of traction, and especially when you're tagging those people in those posts, because then your audience becomes even larger. And this is kind of I'm going to share it and I'm going to put it out there, and Angela started it, so I'm going to open that can a little bit larger. Constantly posting the same pictures of everybody around the table at the meeting is boring, especially when it's the same thing every single week. Nobody cares about everybody sitting around eating. I don't, and it gets really old, and we want people to know we're more than just a bunch of people sitting around a table eating lunch, because it's so much more than that. We do extend fellowship every week, but we want the community to see us in action. We want them to see us out in the community, providing service, handing out meal boxes, installing smoke detectors, cleaning up the parks. We want them to see us in their community working, not sitting at a table eating lunch. Okay, soapbox over. Socials. We had a social last night, and we met at a local brewery, and there were pictures posted there. People need to know that we're more than just about sitting in a meeting room, and that we also get together and we are a family, and we provide fellowship, regularly provide fellowship. And we have a social that we do that Tyler Rotary Club hosts every month, and they invite Rotarians from all over the place to come and be part of that. And that is a great way to also invite people to get to know people in your Rotary Club on a more intimate level. And also backing up to people in action. We stressed this at our training a couple of weeks ago, that people's first interaction with Rotary does not have to be at a meeting. We have social and service events every month in our district. Why not let their first interaction with Rotary be in a service project or during fellowship at a social, so they get to know us? Because I know some of the meetings that I've visited, y'all have a social time while you're eating and gathering, but we start right at noon most of the time. So there's not a whole lot of that at our meetings at South Tyler Rotary. So if there's an opportunity to bring somebody as a guest to a social or a service event, why not? That would be a great first interaction with Rotary, and then teach them about the other things in the meeting structure and all of that later. Get them involved with you on a different level, because we are a service organization. Post things about holidays. Of course, if your meeting falls on a holiday, you want to make sure you share that. But I like to just post fun things like national days or this day in history, to make sure there's some consistency with the posts that are showing up on your feed. Plus, it helps with the algorithm if you're consistently posting. And I do not post 8 times a day, Greg. Only a few. But you also want to make sure that you're paying attention to when your audience is on. And I can go into that and show you a little bit about the stats on Facebook, so you can see where your audience lies. But yesterday was National Donut Day, and that's an opportunity to post something fun, even if it's Rotarians eating donuts and acknowledging National Donut Day, because we want people to know we have fun too. And this day in history is a great one to just incorporate and to get a little bit more into your feed. always motivational posts and inspiring posts are great, especially when we incorporate posts from Rotarians, from our current president. And also there are lots of Paul Harris quotes out there that can be utilized, but expand on that, because not everybody knows who Paul Harris is. If you put a post out there that Paul Harris said, share with people, educate them who Paul Harris is and why it is important that people know who he is and what he has done for Rotary. Also, polls are a great way to get people to interact. Ask them questions, and you can do this within your private pages for your clubs as well. Who do you want to see as a speaker? What would you like seen different? Just get them to interact with your posts, but you can also do that with the public. What service opportunities are out there? Get them engaged and get them involved. And those people that interact with your post, if they are not Rotarians or have not been a guest, that is an open door to get them involved in Rotary.
Hey, Tiffany,
Yes,
we do have a question. DG Karen asks, how do we feel about live broadcast of meetings?
we've done it. We did it all throughout COVID. Let's see, there's a couple of other clubs in our district that do it too.
Hugo, Oklahoma does. They don't sing like your group does. I would recommend South Tyler, particularly for groups trying to learn to sing more Rotary songs. They actually have a piano as well. So
We do. Oh dear. I think there's two sides of that. And I think it's great when we have Rotarians who have to miss, or if they are sick or out of town. But I also think that it can become a crutch, because people will say, oh, well, I don't have to go. I can just log in from the office. Well, the whole point of having a meeting is interacting with other Rotarians and learning something new from your speaker and adding to the environment that we are in every week. It's important that we are present and in the room. So I think as long as your club your membership and your attendance doesn't fall off because of a live stream, I think it can benefit some of your members. And we have a couple of older members that I know will log in because they're frail and can't get out.
Drove them crazy in Hugo because, as most of y'all know, I didn't stand still at the podium. And so if when clubs want to do those live broadcasts, there probably needs to be some planning ahead of time so that the camera is not static.
Right.
Hire a cameraman.
Yeah, because I drove them insane. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Also, the sound for some clubs, there was one particular club in Texarkana that does that continually, and you can hardly hear the speaker. So the sound is just as important as the camera.
Yes, it is. That is correct, Shirley. And we have a sound problem in Tyler at our meetings, and we also have very bright lights in our meeting space, so then you can't see the screen if they're offering a presentation. There's lots of moving parts to that. But if you have somebody whose specialty is broadcasting and doing those type of things, bring them in and help, give them that role and make that their role and be able to produce a good quality meeting. So I think that is up to each individual club. And that might be a poll that you take among your club members to see if that would be beneficial. But I would highly stress, making sure that people don't use it as a crutch and still come to the meetings.
And I would recommend too, something we do in the dental profession is you sit everywhere and see what your patients, your customers see, and find out if it's what you think it is.
Right. Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't put that in the presentation. And I didn't know if Angela was going to talk about it, but doing an audit of your club meeting from an outsider looking in. Walk through the door. Is anybody there greeting you? Keep on moving. How did the check-in process work? How did they find you? I like to ask visitors how they found us. And we had someone that said, I saw you on social media and I liked what I saw. And that brought in a potential member, and I don't know whose feed he saw us on, and maybe he was just scoping us out. And like Greg said, sometimes he'll look at the feed and see if they're active before he joins a Facebook group. So make sure that you're at least posting something each week so you remain active, but it also helps boost you up in the algorithms. So doing that.
You know, Tiffany, one caveat to the live streaming, if you will, if you have a particularly important or impactful speaker, and I can remember it was in the middle of COVID, but one of them, Longview or Marshall or somebody, had a live stream of the fellow who just passed away from Dallas, who was in the iron lung. And they published that heavily throughout District 5830. And I know a number of us dialed in, and that was a obviously very, very powerful meeting, and a good inter-club activity. So if there are, I don't know many of us have speakers of that caliber, but if you do, that is a good way not only for us to stay connected, but to show a prospective new member, somebody who's very, engaging or impactful.
Absolutely. And I know when you have impactful speakers like Texarkana Sunrise had Nathaniel Moran recently, and there was a lot of public, a lot of posts and things leading up to that. And I'm sure Landon got a lot of guests from those posts, and he meets at the crack of dawn. But getting ahead of that and letting people know that that's coming so they can get it on their calendar. And that's something that I think we may be doing this next year, is giving people more time and letting them know that those speakers are coming soon. All right, let's dive into content calendars. And this, I really like this idea. And if you are an organized person and can stay on top of this, it can be a wonderful resource for you. And it saves a lot of time and can really be your friend, especially if you have multiple roles or have a full-time job and don't have the time dedicated every single week to create content. And I have provided a few options, and these have been on the district website for almost a year now. And these are just ideas of things that you can post. And you don't have to post something every day. That would become very overwhelming. But these are just some ideas that are out there that can kind of help you get started with content for your website. And this is just a calendar for the month, and it gives you different ideas. And these things can be scheduled ahead of time and created in Canva. And I'm going to show you how to schedule these ahead of time so you don't have to worry about them. But these are just a few ideas of things that you can do. And I love the highlight a Rotarian. And that's something that I think we all should be doing, and sharing those testimonials and those stories of Rotarians, of community members, of benefactors of our services. Also, we have a theme every single month, and it is great to expand on those themes, not only sharing at the beginning of the month that that's that theme of the month, but highlighting that theme and educating the public about what Rotary is doing that pertains to that theme each month. It's a great way to educate. But this is on our district website under public image training, and I will also share it with everyone that is on the call today. But there are, I mentioned National Day calendar, and I love going to that because it has all those fun days that are available. Almost every day is a national day of something. So those are fun posts to share. There's also
You got the camera covered up.
what? What was that? I don't think he was talking to us. Okay. Also, I have also shared some content calendar options for each month. And this is also on our district website. And this goes through every single month, and it goes through what the theme is. Actually, they don't have well, I have the themes listed at the bottom of the second page. And that gives you an idea of what to post for that month. But also the content planning calendar here that's in front of you gives some other ideas. And it's everything from posting about your blood drives and things that happen in the school districts, like the Red Ribbon program, if you're involved with that. Literacy in September is a great way to launch your book programs and to share with the community about those programs, because they want to know what we're doing. And this is a really good way to share with them all the things that we are doing.
Hey, Tiffany.
Yes.
DG Karen mentioned this month is Rotary Fellowships month, and Rotary Fellowships is another good way to attract people from different areas, like
Yes.
particularly the wine fellowship that she was a part of.
Yes. And that's one of the things that you can even educate your members about, because not everybody knows about all the fellowships. There are so many of them, and you've got, what, 30 days in the month. You could highlight a different one and still not cover them all every single day. But you might pick out a handful of them based on the interests of your members. And like, there's a hiking one. I mean, you could expand on that. What does that mean? Or fellowships are a great way to get new members involved. If there's something they're interested in, whether it's beer making or wine drinking or hiking or whatever their interest is, there's probably a fellowship for it. And that's a great way to get them involved. And this may be even something you can do at a meeting, is featuring a fellowship each meeting, just in having someone give a little snippet about what that means, or what fellowships mean, period. Because I know when I first came into Rotary, when I heard fellowships, I thought, well, that's like school, and you go and do, it's kind of like an internship, but it's so much more than that in Rotary, and we need to educate our members, but we can educate the public about that too.
I did that yesterday at our club because of, our first meeting. So I showed them, I'm in 3 fellowships, right? And so I showed them my pins, and I told them, I said, this is how you bring people in, and you could actually look at it as a pathway to starting an interest-based club. Think outside the box.
That's right. Okay. People of action. I love this template, and this photo was taken in December. We hosted a meeting, a South Tyler Rotary meeting at Meals on Wheels, and our club did service during our meeting. And what they're doing here is they're packing up our Santa's for Seniors gifts for our clients. And it was a really, really fun meeting, especially seeing all these guys trying to gift wrap bags. And it was just a lot of fun. But I used this photo to drop in this Rotary People of Action logo. But the cool thing is there's a template already there for us that Rotary International has provided. And there's an app and a desktop version of this People in Action. And it's POA Photos.app, APP. It's People of Action Photos, POA photos.app. And there's an app you can download and there's a desktop version. And I'm going to show you the desktop version, of course, if I can find it.
Tiffany, while you're doing that,
Yes.
I want to make sure that everybody builds that public image team within their clubs and make sure one of those people is a photographer.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a soapbox for me. I'm a videographer, do photos, and that's very important.
Especially phones have gotten so fancy now. You always want to find somebody that knows how to use the phone and how to take a picture and video too.
You know, while we were in Singapore, I took pictures, but some of my DG classmates are photographers. And so there's still a difference no matter how good your camera is.
No, 100% there.
Hello. Got too many screens open. Sorry, guys. Okay. All right. This is what the People of Action app looks like. And it is so simple. And I'm going to show you how. All right, this is what it looks like when you open it up. And I'm going to go to Open Photo. And you can do this from your phone or on the desktop. And I am going to bring in, let's see. Okay, here is one of the photos from our district event, our trash bash. And I think this is there anybody on the call? And this is it Idabel? It was one
Looks
of the,
like it. Looks like Idabel.
all right. And okay, so I dropped in the photo and you can add a cool frame to it, which adds a lot of character, and there's lots of different options. That one's kind of cool. And you just select the frame that you would like and hit apply. And then you go to templates, was over on the left-hand side, and you select which one of these templates that you would like to use. And they've got the theme already here for this current year, and I trust that they will be updating this with the new theme come July 1st. But the People of Action horizontal logos are the ones that I'm interested in. I don't know if you saw what I did. I clicked on the People of Action down here in the lower corner, and it brought several options. It opened up several options. And I'm really glad that they provide several different colors, because your photo doesn't always allow for the blue and gold logos. And I like to use the white one because it stands out. And you just change the size and place it on your photo in the best possible place. And then you have your People of Action logo, and this can be uploaded to your Facebook or on your website, or you can be dropped into a bulletin, but make sure you hit apply. And then you've got your People of Action photo. And then all you have to do is save it up here at the top and it will download. And you can save it in different formats.
Tiffany, you may have mentioned this at the beginning. Is this POA app area done by Rotary people? So everything in here is approved by
Yes.
Rotary? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
And there are other people of action templates within Brand Center that you can use too, but this is right here. You can put it on your phone and it's really easy to use. I did one after an event. I think it was after our trash bash event. I did it from my phone and posted it right there. So it's really easy to use. And I'm really glad it's so user friendly because anybody in your club can actually utilize that if they've taken a photo at an event.
Tiffany, I'm trying to find it on my phone and it's not coming up.
Okay.
I'll look later, but I'll keep looking.
Yeah, Karen, I just typed in POA editor and it came up just in Google. If you Google it.
That there is and then you click on the photo app with it. You go to it in the search bar, the POA photos.app or .com, and then within that you can click on the app.
Right. I see it.
So are you saying this is a browser app? It's not like an
Yeah,
app?
Yes, that's
it's
correct.
not in the App Store.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's really not an app in the sense of a
No.
phone app. Okay.
That's correct, Diana. They call it an app, and it looks really good on, well, they've got some fuzzy photos on there, but it's really easy to use from your phone too.
You can, when you find that web page though, you can pin that web page to your home screen on your iPhone or your Android or whatever, and it basically becomes an app because you can click on that icon from your home screen and it takes you right to it.
Yes, then you don't have to search for it every time. All right, scheduling posts. This is a great tool and I like to use it when I'm going on vacation. In fact, I just returned from vacation, was gone for 7 days, and I used it to schedule my posts for the club and for the district. So at least it didn't look like I was on vacation. And actually, I think there were more posts while I was gone than there have been regularly.
I was wondering how you did that.
See, I'm going to show you how to do it too, but
we wouldn't have known if you hadn't posted on your personal page about all the Mexico stuff.
Well, and it's a great tool, and you can even tag team with your social media public image team, and people can take turns doing this as long as there's consistency and everybody's using the proper brand. And that might be a training you have within your club to make sure that you're all on the same page and sharing the responsibility. But this is definitely a really nice tool, and I'm gonna share again on a different. We're gonna go to Facebook. All right. Looks like Lindell's having a fishing tournament right now. And we won't talk about the improper use of that logo. Okay.
Show us what you're talking about.
You want me to go back to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to have a class on how to find these things.
Tutorial.
What, you want to know about this logo? Oh, you want to know how to get there? Okay. While we're here, anybody want to tell me what is missing from this logo, from this image? sorry to pick on Lindell if there's anybody here, but
Club name,
right.
Colors, the colors.
Yep. And I think
colors, club name.
this is an image that they use every year, and I think they just changed the date, but we really need, the master brand is by itself, and there's no proper club logo in the vicinity of the master brand. So that's what's missing there. But they have a lot of details, and it looks like they probably used ChatGPT to create their post. But okay, so
Do the fonts matter on something like that?
it would be good for you to use on brand fonts, but I realize this is a flyer that they've created, because I think this looks exactly the same as their flyer.
Okay.
And there are a lot of font options out there, so you can still be creative with the ones that are available in the style guide. Okay. I am
Thanks.
sure. I am on the South Tyler Rotary page because that's the one that's easiest for me to show you. And what I'm going to do is go to Meta Business Suite, which is over here on the left-hand side, and click on Meta Business Suite. And that's within your club Facebook page. And it brings you to this page where you can create a post. And that's exactly what you're going to do, is you're going to go to create a post. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to add a photo, and it's going to take me to my downloads. And this is where what I created earlier is stored. So we're going to go to this Father's Day post and upload it. And now we have a Father's Day post. And we want to put something with this. And I'm going to jump ahead just a moment because I want to show you, oops. Well, yeah, that's what I want to show you, artificial intelligence. How do I make this top screen go away? All right. Okay. I'm going to jump ahead just a minute into my presentation. This is ChatGPT, and this is our artificial intelligence tool. And I want to create a post for Father's Day. And all I'm going to do is tell ChatGPT what I want. And I'm going to be very specific because I want it to create something that's interesting and specific to our club and to Father's Day. So I'm going to ask I'm going to ask this tool to write my post for me. So I'm going to say, write Facebook post with emojis for Father's Day for South Tyler Rotary Club. So I want it to create a Facebook post. I want it to include emojis for Father's Day, and it's for South Tyler Rotary Club. And I'm just going to hit send. And it's going to do the work. So it created my narrative for my post. Happy Father's Day to all the amazing dads in our South Tyler Rotary Club. Thank you for all that you do to support our families, our community, and our club. We appreciate you and hope you have a fantastic day filled with love and appreciation. Happy Father's Day, South Tyler Rotary Club. You have hashtags and everything in there. And that took a second. It took me longer to tell it what to do than it did for it to pump out that narrative, which is very cool, I think. And you can edit this. So you might say, to all the amazing dads in our South Tyler Rotary Club and our community, because this is outward facing and it reaches several people. So we want to use that and add them into our post. And from here, all you have to do is hit this little copy button and it copies it. And then go back to Facebook and right click on your mouse, hit paste, and there is your narrative for your post.
DG Karen says, wow, even I might look smart doing this.
But see how easy that was? I mean, if I wasn't going through all the steps, creating this post in Canva, telling artificial intelligence what to write, copy and pasting it, 5 minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes at the most, especially once you get it down. And we have an Instagram account attached to ours, so it's going to post this on Instagram as well. And from here, you can either publish it now, or you can schedule. We're going to use this scheduling option here, and we're going to hit schedule. And Father's Day is on the 16th of June. So I'm going to go to the Facebook feed scheduler and hit June 16th. We want to get them before they go to early church. So we're going to post it at 7:30. And we're going to do the same with Instagram. But here's another cool feature that they have. Here's some active times that they suggest. And this is based on the algorithms that Facebook puts together, but it will tell you, it will suggest active times for your audience. But since it's a Father's Day post, I'm going to stick with what we've done. So June 16th at 7:30, this is going to post, and I hit schedule, and it is ready to go, and it will post on the 16th, and we are not going to boost this post. And then once it gets scheduled, it pops into a scheduler. And this is a planner. And if you go over to the left-hand side, you can see the planner button. And this will show you all of your posts that you have scheduled ahead of time. And Facebook has a really great tool because it will tell you what some of these international days are in the planner. Like Tuesday after Father's Day is International Picnic Day. And they've got Juneteenth on here and the first day of summer. But if you back up, like Friday is Flag Day, so you can go ahead and schedule a post for Flag Day. But you can also back up and see what you've done in the past and what's been scheduled. See, these were our posts from our mixer that we had last night. I posted a few times so people wouldn't forget. And the posts that were scheduled while I was gone are here. So it's really easy to go ahead and schedule posts ahead of time. So you can see how this can save you time, especially if you know you're going to be out. And I usually schedule my posts for our meeting announcements on Sunday night when I'm doing the bulletin and submitting it. But if you scroll on down past the planner, you can go to Insights. And this is something that's interesting to see. You can see your results as far as your personal or your club's Facebook page. We hadn't had a lot of great activity there this past week, but you can see our followers, time spent on the site. You can even see who your followers are, how many you've got. How many times people have visited your page. It can give you a better picture of who your audience is and how they're spending their time and how you're reaching people. All right, we're going to move on along. I want to go back over here to ChatGPT. And this tool can also be used for creating press releases. And I'm going to talk about press releases in just a few minutes, but I wanted to share with you, a lot of people get kind of scared about artificial intelligence, but we've been using artificial intelligence for a long time. Think about the crash detection devices on your car. Netflix recommendations that pop up. This might be something you're interested in. That's AI. Also, your Apple and Google Maps, those are also AI. So we have been using that for a very long time. And it's out there, and we might as well use it to benefit us and to make our jobs easier. But that was just one example of how AI can help us with the social media posts. But it's also a great way to develop outlines if you have a presentation. It helps me with creating outlines when I'm giving presentations, but it can give you ideas for titles of events. For instance, what would be a fun title for a fishing tournament for Rotary? Let's just go with that. What would be a fun title for a fishing tournament for Rotary? Reeling in Support, Rotary's annual fishing showdown. Reeling in Support. Great. It's okay. Hooked on Rotary, Cast for a Cause, Rotary Reel Off, Reeling for Charity. So if you're stumped, this can be a good tool to come up with catchy names for events. But it also can provide speaker introductions. And actually, I used it. Angela gave me her introduction and I plugged it into artificial intelligence, and it changed it up a little bit. And I asked it to put it in third person because she provided it in first person. And I just copy and pasted it into ChatGPT and it changed it for me. But this is a great tool to use. You can have a ChatGPT app on your phone, And you could create a quick introduction for a speaker on the spot at a Rotary meeting just by typing in a few key details about that person. And it can pump out a really creative introduction at a meeting. But it can also help you with ideas for bulletin posts, your newsletters, those type of things. It's a really great tool simply for generating ideas, but I use it a lot for creating Facebook posts. But one thing you want to make sure that you do is proofread it and make sure that you create that or update that post so it's in your voice and in the Rotary voice, and make sure that a lot of times you'll ask it to do something for Rotary and you'll want to make sure your club name gets put in there. If you're not specific enough, it won't pump out the club name. It'll just say Rotary. And you want it, especially if you're in a town that has 2 or 3 Rotary clubs. And if you want it to create it with emojis, all you have to do is tell it to create it with emojis. If you want it to be shorter or longer, that is also details that you want to make sure that you add. But one of the things that I like to do is meeting announcements. So here's our meeting announcement. And it's creative. See you at noon, come hungry, bring a guest. And you can have it expand on that. And sometimes when you have events, it will do the who, what, when, where. It will list it that way too. And it's really good at just giving you something fast and with a lot of good content. Another, I love this feature, and it can be used for creating press releases.
DG Karen said this right here is worth the price of admission to this class.
Okay, that's enough. But okay, so I asked it to create a press release, and what it's going to do is going to create a template based on the information I provided. It's got the date, it's the location, and it provides a template for you to fill in the contact information. And all you have to do is proof it and make sure that it's pertinent to your event. But a lot of times, if you just give it some basic information, it will provide you with a template that you can fill in the rest of it, which is really nice, especially if you've never done a press release before. It can give you some of the meat so you're following those guidelines. All right, we got to move on. Yes, go ahead, ask your question.
I'm sorry, you copy this and then make the adjustments, or make the adjustments on this site?
You can do it either way. You can make the adjustments here, or you can copy it and drop it into a word processor. All right. And I do own the rights to this picture. I took it at the Wax Museum in Mexico last week. All right, we talked about using AI for ideas and press releases and bulletins, speaker introductions, articles for the newspaper. It can help you with that as well. All right. Running out of time, but I want to talk about media relations because it's really important that we get the media involved in our events and utilizing them to help us share our message. And you want to make sure that you have a strategy when approaching journalists, but I think the very best way to get them involved is, of course, to invite them to a meeting and invite them to be a Rotarian, but also knowing how to pitch the stories to them and being creative. And sometimes they bite and sometimes they don't. I have submitted many press releases that never got any traction, and then I've submitted some that I didn't think they would even look at, and they have. But consistency but backing up, it is important to develop relationships with your local media. And I know a lot of clubs are very fortunate to have somebody in their club who is part of the newspaper or the one of the news outlets, which is wonderful because they get stuff in the newspaper every week because the writer is a Rotarian. So I think we should all strive to have somebody from the media as a Rotarian in our clubs because that helps us have that inside track. But anytime you're out in the public and can meet or interact with someone in the media, take that opportunity to start to develop those relationships. But all of their contact information is out there on their websites. And it's important to develop a list of all of your media outlets, even if it's just newsroom at or news desk at KTVB or KETK or whoever it is. Those are the people you're going to send your press releases to. And I have a very large distribution list that I send to every time. And I don't just send it to one outlet because one of them might take it and one of them might not. So I send it to all of them. For instance, when we were publicizing the parade last year, the first press release that I sent out announcing the registration, nobody took it. I had to reach out several times to them to get them to publish it. And luckily I have a relationship with some of the news reporters and I have their phone number so I can text them. But sometimes it's just our stuff gets buried and it's not headline news. But if you keep contacting them, they will eventually publish it. And I sent out a media advisory, which is basically an invitation to your event. After they didn't pick up my press release for our spaghetti supper back in April, no one ever published it. And that was kind of discouraging because I wanted to invite the public. But I sent out another media advisory right before the event, and they mentioned it on the news the night before the event. And we had some people that showed up to the spaghetti supper because they mentioned it on the news. So don't give up, but continually submitting stories to them, inviting them to your meetings and getting them involved in Rotary, inviting them to your service projects. You never know when it's going to be a slow news day and they need to cover something and they'll just show up to your event, which is really nice when they show up and you didn't expect them. But your press releases need to include all of these key elements. You want to tell them who is holding the event, what is going to happen, when it is, where it is, why you're doing what you're doing. And with Rotary press releases, I always put the Rotary International, what Rotary International is at the bottom, and also the call to action. We can't forget the call to action. If you want more information about joining Rotary, visit rotary.org or put the specific link to find a club. When we do the press releases for the parade for the Rotary clubs of Tyler, we put links to each of our sites on that press release. So if people are interested in visiting one of our meetings, they can do so, and they have that information readily available on the press release. Always include your logo. They don't always use it, but you want to make sure you include your club logo or your multi-club logo in those press releases. Keep it short and sweet, no longer than 2 pages, preferably 1 page, so they will actually read it, and always include photos. And this is really important because this saves a step, because if they're really interested in your story, they're going to reach back out to you for photos, so you might as well go ahead and have them ready. And always include contact information, your club president's name, your social media chair, whoever can be readily reached needs that contact information needs to be there. But sometimes it's a good idea to have 2 people's information on the press release. And I will send you examples of press releases and media advisories that I've actually submitted to the news. I will submit that with the handouts that I include today. But the media advisory is basically one more reminder about your event. It's kind of an invitation, and you can let them know what's going to be happening, give them a timeline of the events. If there's going to be somebody that's going to open the event, like the mayor is going to be there, that's key information that the media likes to know, and when that's going to happen. So they know that they need to be there by 9 a.m. because Mayor Warren's going to talk and he's going to open the event. Keep this definitely short and sweet, really to the point, no extra fluff. You might include 1 photo with it just in case they want to put it on the news like they did with our spaghetti supper, having something for them to show. But you can use AI to find your catchy title for this event, for this media advisory. All right, now I didn't want to run out of time before I went into this, but I want to share something that happened when I was preparing this presentation. I was actually in PowerPoint, and I like to use there's a feature in PowerPoint where they will design your slide for you, and it pulled up a photo of, I asked it to pull up a photo of community because I wanted a picture of hands or something that was, I don't think I even used it, but the picture that they brought up had really fine print on it and said that it was copyrighted. I mean, the print was extremely fine, and I'm not sure why PowerPoint would have allowed me to use that, but I didn't use that photo. I opted to find another one in one of the other tools that I will show you in just a moment. But you've got to be careful that you're not using copyrighted information, because copyright infringement is a form of theft. And I will provide you all with some more links about this that goes into more depth, but I want to show you some examples of what to look for. And this very top example, it says this photo by unknown author is licensed under CC BY. I don't know what that means, but that's what that photo had on it. And it was so small that I would have never seen it if I hadn't blown up the photo. So you've got to be very careful. But here are some other things that you want to look for. All images copyrighted by John Smith Photography. These are actual examples that came off of photos. Here's another one, all rights reserved. And this is on a lot of websites. That's why you want to make sure that you're not copying, pasting photos from websites. And a lot of times the way companies will cover themselves on everything that is posted on their site is they post all rights reserved at the bottom of their website. That means everything that they've got on their site, unless you ask for permission, is reserved and you are not allowed to use it and can get in hot water for sure. Copyright 2023 Apple, that was on the bottom of their site. So you're not copying and pasting any images from their site without their permission. The Nokia, that was from another example, all rights reserved, and McDonald's even has it on their site, although it hasn't been updated this year on this particular one that I found. But we have to obtain permission from the copyrighted owner, and specifically on photos, it's usually the photographer that you need to get permission from them to use their information. But the best way to avoid this is to create your own images. Just take your own photos. If you ever see Greg out in public or at an event, he's always taking photos. He takes photos as much as I post on social media, but he
takes more.
Okay, he's taking photos everywhere, and I'm very grateful for all of you that take photos even before I arrive. But just have your own content, create your own content. That's the best way to avoid any copyright infringement. But there are also some really great tools, and royalty-free media is one of my favorites. And I'm going to show you really quick because
I have a question real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
With that photo right there, see, there's a Minolta camera in there. So if you take a photograph of something that's branded like that, does that apply, or is it just their photos?
No, that's their photo. And this photo was actually, I'm going to show you the tool that I used. Why can't I ever get that little bar to go away?
Like, for instance, when we do Jeff's installation, it's going to have Chick-fil-A all over the place. So when we're taking photos and we're having Chick-fil-A bags in the background, we can use those still, right?
Yes. Especially since Jeff is the one that's there. Okay. All right. This is my, can you see this? You can't see this. All right. This is my go-to to find photos. And I use this to find the little guy with the Minolta camera. I've used it for lots of my posts. I used it for several pictures in my presentation. And it's a free source, and they're royalty-free photos. They're high quality. They're easy to download. I've used it several times to find like a United States flag. All right. Here are all the flags that it brought up that I can use. And these are royalty free. But like the one with the kid, now these up at the top are ones that you have to purchase. But see, here's my little guy. It brought him up. And all of these can be used. Now the photographers do sometimes ask for donations, and that is up to you. But if you click on an image, all you have to do is download it in the size that you want and download it to your files. And then you can pop it into a Canva file or a presentation. And you can, they've added the Canva feature here too. Just download it and see it ask for a donation. to say thanks, but that's not required. And then it's in your files. But I
Do
love,
you recommend a size?
I always use the one that is already highlighted, this one.
Okay.
But there is just about everything in here. Confident cat. I think I used that one for the stretching. Oh no, I don't know what I used that for, but just about anything you want to look up, they've got it.
Tiffany, do you need, in this instance, I know you're very careful about giving credit to folks who send photos. If these are royalty free, do you have to acknowledge that in any way on your post?
I don't. But
Okay.
since now, if I were to say, well, I've done it with yours. If you've taken a photo, I give you credit if I use it. And I would highly recommend that, because all too often I see people copying and sharing and don't give any acknowledgement to the photographer. And especially when it's a really good photograph, or anytime you need to give them recognition. And I don't mind when y'all share. I know our private district page, you can't share directly from it, and a lot of you copy and paste. That's fine. I don't mind that at all, because you've left our District 5830 logo on there. So we know where it came from.
How are you crediting Greg?
I tag him in the photo. I said, thank you, Greg, for our photo.
Such a
Credit
good
goes
guy.
to Greg Holloman.
What
And
are
he gets a huge
watermarks?
check.
I do. I get a check from Tiffany every month.
When are watermarks used, Tiffany? I've done that in the past and I can't remember why.
Well, my son actually has created his own watermark for his photos, and he puts it on every single photo that he puts out on social media, just to protect him as a photographer, because so many people don't realize that if they take that photo off of social media, they didn't have permission. So he makes sure his watermark is on every photo that he shares. And that's just his preference, because he's a photographer and he doesn't want people going out and stealing his stuff. He doesn't charge anybody for anything, but he wants recognition that he took the photo, which is, I would too, because a lot of them are really, really good. And I put our logo, our club logo and our district logo on everything that I post. So that's kind of like our watermark. So then I know if it ends up in Australia on a post, it came from us, which is kind of cool when it ends up across the globe. But I wanted to allow a few minutes for questions, because we've covered so much today. And we've had interaction, but feel free to ask more questions.
Tiffany, one thing we missed when you were talking about news releases, Alex mentioned that a lot of media outlets, either on a website or something, have community calendars and bulletin boards where you can post your events and things for free. So that's another free advertisement opportunity for your events.
Yes, and the chamber will post your stuff also. And don't forget about your local chambers, especially if your club is a member, because they love to post those events on their calendars. And the city, a lot of times the city has calendars that you can access to, and people go to those calendars to find stuff to do. And if there's a kids fishing tournament going on in Lindale today, I bet it was on their chamber calendar. But thank you.
And I'll just add to, oh yeah, no worries. I'll just add to my comment as well. I'm in the radio and digital marketing business. And so like, I can't speak for all markets, but especially for small markets, when you're having like an event or something coming up, radio stations, for instance, love for Rotarians to come in and talk about what's going on. I know, especially with my company, we always love for Rotarians in Paris, Rotarians in Sulphur Springs and Mount Pleasant to always come in and talk about what's going on. It's like free content pretty much for radio station DJs.
Yes, and it is so much fun to go and talk on the radio stations too. I got to talk on one in Athens, and they cover Cedar Creek Lake too. And she was like, anytime you have an event, come and talk to me. And even KTBB, our little talk radio station here in
Oh, I'm
Tyler,
familiar with that one.
and we have a Rotarian that's part of that group, but they love that. And a lot of times they will get more involved after you've spoken to them about your event. And yes, developing those relationships with your local media is so important.
That's how they got me.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Alex, for sharing. Well, I want to offer this because I know that there are key things that people need assistance with, and I would love to help you out. And no one took me up on the bonus after lunch events, which I don't blame you. It's Saturday, it's a beautiful day, but if you want to schedule some time with me, if you need help on anything that we've covered today or something we didn't cover today and you'd like more information, I can help you. But also, Rotary International has a public image learning platform that has, I'm not going to count the one that's in the other language, but there are 10 different public image events, that little training sessions that you can do. And some of them are really short. They're 15 minutes long. There's one that's 2 hours, 2.5 hours, but most of them are from 15 minutes to an hour long. And most of these are 15 to 30 minutes long. And they're very helpful and have a lot of information. They go into trademarks and the brand and public image committees. There's lots of information here. And I've done all of them, and there's wonderful information. But even outside of public image, there's just about anything you want to learn about Rotary is there in the Learning Center.
Hey, Tiffany,
Yes.
got a couple of comments asking if you're planning to email a link to the recording and
Yes.
possibly the slideshow.
Yes, I will send both. I'm going to do some editing on the video, but we will actually put that on the district page. But I will send the presentation to everyone and the handouts that I referred to. I've got several handouts that I saved, and I've got the new download for the new Rotary presidential theme. I've got that already downloaded. I'm going to send that to all of you because it's kind of hard to find. So I figured I'd just go ahead and send it to you so you would have it. But my contact information is here. You can reach out to me. That's my personal cell phone and personal email, and I can help you. We just schedule a time if you need any help, or if you just have a quick question, you can send me a text and I will help you the best I can.
Thank you.
This was very well done. Good job, Tiffany. Thank you, Angela, for being here.
Yes, thank you, Angela, so much for being here.
Thanks for inviting me. Yeah, Tiffany, awesome job.
Yep, good job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great job.
Thank you all for being here.
Are we leaving now?
Yes, we're gonna leave, and y'all have a wonderful Saturday. Go out and enjoy the heat.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. See y'all later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.